Welcome to the International.
Right, so I want you to, while we can see the draft and we'll break that down, but very quickly, I want you to talk to me about what it's like for these players right now. They've made it out of that group stage. The grind is over now. It's pure strategy and pure execution. What's going through these players' minds right now?
Just absolutely playing the best that they possibly can, not worrying about what the other team is. You worry about certain players on the team, but not overall on their entire draft. You really want to focus more on your own draft and making sure you have the best draft that you guys can play possible, but not really being like, oh, they're going to get this, so we have to pick this to counteract it, blah, blah, blah. You don't really want to have to counteract anything. You really want to just pick in your own favor and play your game and force them to make movements.
Take charge.
And do everything. Yeah, absolutely. Take charge in the game. And we do see MVP jumping in and grabbing 2 trees right away. They grab the Tree and Protector first pick, which Arrow Gaming counterpicks with a Wraith King Darkseer, which is a very good counterpick versus the tree, because Darkseer, of course, burns that tree armor very quickly. Wraith King as well. The stun burns 3 charges of the tree armor instantly, as well as Wraith King is just an extremely strong support and a carry, which we've seen multiple times. And MVP also ends up drafting a Phoenix or Nature Prophet right after that.
I actually really hope that Arrow's going to run that Wraith King as a support. I really feel like the hero shines much more there, but he and Tree are kind of alike in the sense that they're excellent roamers. They can be very good in lane, but they tend to give you a lot or nothing at all. They're not kind of heroes that it's like, oh, they had a bad laning phase, but they bounce back and they're midland in the mid game. Usually, they have to at least be semi-effective early on, and it can be tough to do that, especially when you're up against the ganking potential that MVP has with the Tree and the Nature's Prophet as well. Just want to point out as well the respect bans that we already see.
Oh, yeah.
MVP Phoenix taking out DDZ's Tinker as well as his Invoker, and on the side of Arrow, getting rid of that Ember Spirit we talked about.
Absolutely, and Arrow also is getting rid of the Death Prophet and Pugna. They don't want MVP to try to do any type of cheese pushing at all, so they do ban out that Pugna and that Death Prophet, because, I mean, Tree, Nature's Prophet, Pugna, and Death Prophet together is unbelievably powerful.
I'm not sure what's going on, but
we're having a little bit of problems, but it's okay. It's not a problem at all.
Okay, internal conflicts, apparently. That was hilarious. No one seemed to notice it. I'm watching my screen, and I see Feared playing with his phone. It's like zoomed in on him for like 20 seconds before, and I'm motioning and everything, but no one looking. And it's Fire Conrad and, of course, Fire K-Pop Toast. Well done, gentlemen. And there we are. We got a draft screen, at least for the moment.
But either way, getting back to the draft, more importantly, of course, is just looking at, which you've pointed out many times, of course, if Wraith King does not have a great early game, he starts to fall off if he's a support hero, because you need to just start to do things and just start to snowball as your lineup. Get a couple towers down, get some more farm on your other heroes, because Wraith King, of course, he has the stun. He has, of course, they've buffed him multiple times in the recent patches. His stun, he has more int, so he can throw more stuns in the early game, so he can get some good kill potential, and of course he can zone off lanes very easily on his own. And yeah, I mean, Arrow Gaming's so far, their draft is very, very strong so far, just mostly pertaining to the Tree. They don't BP Phoenix to have an easy type of pushing lineup. We do see them banning out the Death Prophet and Pugna, which I was saying before, because Death Prophet, Pugna, Tree, and Nature's Prophet together is strong. If they even start out with even decently in the beginning of the game, you can just end up losing, because you end up losing all your tier 1 towers, you lose all your map control, and then you have to watch out for so many different things all over the map. Because MVP, of course, is dire on this, so they can really take Roshans really easy if they had no heroes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm right on board with you with Arrow Gaming, not just with their bans, but with what they've picked. Imagine trying to run a guns forward kind of a push lineup against what you see in terms of initiation and counter initiation. AA ultimate, you're going to have Darkseer there with Vacuum. Yeah. Wraith King can just run out if he's sufficiently leveled. If he gets something like a Blink Dagger, depending on how he wants to build, of course, he can just run out and face tank their team as an Ice Blast is on the way and go, yeah, kill me, I dare you.
Yeah.
And everyone will get Vacuum back, and it'll be tough. Phoenix though, and I think we were kind of on the money talking about cheese and what this, I actually hate that term a lot. I would call it more one-dimensional, very easy to execute, somewhat hard to stop, but if you're stopped, you basically are destroyed kind of lineups.
Yeah.
And they're going to go ahead and add to that now with a Lycan. They want towers, and they want to win quickly.
Yeah, it's a very snowball-heavy lineup. If they end up having a decent early game, it can really just pressure Arrow Gaming so hard, because they do have the opportunity to go for those Roshans at any time. And Rubik is a really, I mean, he's a good hero, but he's really fallen off in the previous patches, especially because people he can't really lane. He needs his levels. He needs to have a decent start, because otherwise he really starts falling off. Of course, he has some great spells to steal, especially because now Arrow Gaming picks up this Weaver. But Rubik was picked before that, so it's not really, too much an factor. But Rubik stealing Hellfire Blast, or Wraithfire Blast, is incredible, because that's an 8-second stun with a 3-second tapering slow after that. So it's basically, it has a, it's like a 25% uptime, so you can just keep spamming that spell over and over with the Rubik, plus with your lift and your nuke. Rubik ends up being very powerful with that, but at the same time, Arrow doesn't seem to be really worried about the pushes at this point. They haven't really picked any heroes that can spam out the waves. They've picked just, stuff that they're used to. It looks like they might potentially go for an aggressive tri-lane with this AA, Wraith King, and Weaver combo, because those three together, of course, we've seen in the past, AA plus Weaver, the chilling touch in Weaver Shikuchi is just huge. Or the Gemini attack is just insane, because you get that double attack, you get the double proc on that chilling touch, and it just kills someone almost instantly. And it looks like they know what MVP Phoenix wants to do. They want to farm up that Lycan, and they're going to put pressure on him so he cannot have a good start.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the big weaknesses of Lycan. I mean, right now you look at their lanes, and it seems pretty straightforward, although they could end up switching it up now. That Nyx Assassin, a little bit of a curveball, was going to say it looked like Lycan was going to end up being a safe lane hero that's protected by the Tree and the Rubik, Nature's Found from the off lane, and looking for a mid. I think right now, it's so tough to gauge, because Lycan can be laned mid effectively so long as the matchup is favorable. That's the big thing. But as of right now, Arrow, I don't think, has shown us who DDZ's hero is going to be. In fact, it looks like MVP's even of that mind, banning out the puck as well. What's a problematic mid that Arrow could pick right now if they wanted to try and anticipate a Lycan mid?
Honestly, a majority of ranged heroes just do very well versus Lycan, because you can just keep putting the pressure on them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just pick a hard carry. I mean, I'm not too familiar with all of DZZ's heroes pool. I've been seeing him mostly playing this Invoker and Tinker, which he's absolutely amazing at. I mean, his Invoker was one of the... I know Fear was watching that game, and he was commentating, and he said it's one of the best Invokers, if not the best Invoker he's ever seen. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him play almost anything. They can really pressure anything. And MVP's lineup, overall, you can look at it and you're just like, how are they going to end up laning this? Okay, it's probably going to end up being this Lycan short lane with Rubik Tree protecting him, a Furin off lane, and a Nyx mid. And yeah, we do see Arrow go for this Razor. So I mean, if Lycan's going to end up being mid, he's going to be so shut down by this Razor. Just a static link, and he's just going to be able to last it nothing. Of course, Howl does not get reduced by the static link, but it's really not too beneficial at that point, because you're just, it's only 20 damage at the early points. But we do see March playing that Lycan, so it's probably going to end up being that short lane Lycan, and it's probably going to be, I think, a Nyx mid.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. Honestly, it's sad. I can't even remember right off the top of my head which Phoenix player plays mid. But we'll find out one way or the other. They could end up swapping, so teams known to do the old switcheroo from time to time. The draft is complete, and Razor picked up now as the last pick for Arrow. And yeah, DDZ, like you said, we're used to seeing him on very high skill cap heroes. Invoker, your Tinker, and we even saw them ban the puck. I'm not sure if that was a blind ban, just assuming that he would be good at the puck, because that sounds like a hero he'd be good at. But yeah, he's going to be on the Razor this time. So yeah, I really want to see how they're going to lane it as well. And MVP certainly has the ability, if they get far ahead, and Arrow is not going to want to allow them any spaces, or have already smoked inside of their own base and will be heading down south to protect their own jungle. But MVP definitely has a lineup that can take advantage of small gains in the early game and just roll over them in the mid game. What's Arrow's game plan to make sure that doesn't happen?
I mean, first, I just want to point out, I'm a little confused by the reason why Arrow would really just go for smoking. I guess they're a little bit concerned with the fact that MVP might just go for a level 1 Roshan, so it looks like they're just going to smoke there instantly. But it's kind of just a waste of gold at this point, because MVP is not going for that at all. They're just doing these standard lanes. They're putting the Nyx middle. But Arrow, so far, I think that they have it very much so outdrafted. They have a dual core lineup with a Wraith King, which gives the lifesteal, of course, to the Weaver and the Razor, which people really overlook a lot of the times in these drafts. And MVP is just going to have to make a lot of space on this map, because they only have all they have is their carry as a Lycan. And if he gets pressured, if Arrow decides to go for this aggressive tri-lane and just pressures that Lycan, MVP is they're just really screwed unless they just move around, because they can't farm against that. It's going to be so pressured. I mean, Rubik and Tree together are not bad, but compared to the tri-lane that Arrow has, it's nowhere in comparison.
Yep, I completely agree. And it looks like that is going to be the case. They have sent the Razor to mid, but more importantly, the Darkseer. Down at bottom, we're going to see Johnny actually find himself an invis, so this is going to give them some aggressive potential right out the gate. He'll take the long road around and on into the jungle, and we'll see if he's able to spot himself a target. That level 1 invis can just be crippling and we'll see what he wants to do. Right now, it looks like he's just taking a peek around, but is going to end up being O-Try versus a defensive tri-lane. What's going to be key here for MVP to manage this?
They can't die in that tri-lane. They have to be so careful in it, and we don't see the Rubik. The Rubik actually got boots first, which is really interesting. I wanted to point out, of course. Not the tree. We do usually see these trees going for these boots, and MVP's just under so much pressure. They can't step up in that lane. They can't save that Lycan if he gets gone on. He's just going to get super pressured by that Chilling Touch, and right now they don't see the Wraith King anywhere, so they have to be super careful. And we do see MVP going for this bottom ward, so they're going to be scouting out for their Furion so that he can see in case anybody's bottom, but there's no one down there. So that ward, all it does is really give this rune vision, and then they also have a lane ward blocking their big pull. So they can't even do any pulls into connecting pulls, and the pulls don't even work because at the same time Arrow warded their pull. So they're just unable to do anything, and they're not going to be able to get good levels on MVP's side. So they're going to be completely zoned. Arrow's going to be completely free farming in that lane, and I just see completely going for Arrow in this favor because Darkseer in the short lane is going to have a great time versus Furion. They should both be able to farm perfectly fine.
Right.
But Darkseer can inevitably farm more because he can just run to the jungle really quickly, stack some camps up, and even though Furion's going to get farmed, he can just run in there and do stacked camps with it. And mid lane is going to be an absolute disaster for the Nyx because as a melee especially, you can't do anything for Razor versus Razor. I mean, Razor overall is just... He's amazing versus almost any hero. We just don't see many people pick it because he's so immobile.
Yeah, well, he's one of those heroes that you pick specifically in a situation like this.
Absolutely.
Where you know almost assuredly that even if they have options in terms of switching mid, you know that you're going to dominate them both. You know it's not going to be a problem whatsoever. So at 2 minutes in, things going about as we would expect. It's roughly a break even between the Darkseer and the Nature's Prophet at bottom. And we can see the Nyx Assassin being bullied around quite a bit here in mid. DDZ playing so aggressive. And way up in front of MVP's top tier 1. The Lycan struggling as anticipated as well. He's sitting at just 2 CS in the face. Hang on, we're going to see Ryson caught out. There's going to be the Chilling Touch. The stun was there, the slow's there, and Furion was looking to come, but doesn't matter as they draw first blood. And Arrow living up to their billing and getting this game under their control quickly.
Yeah, and that's like I'm saying, that's the problem with the Trine. They can't step up. Even though Rubik has boots, he's so squishy. If he had decided to go Fade Bolt level 1, which is really strange. I thought he'd end up going for the lift because that's usually what you see everybody do. But I guess he was just trying to play a passive, nuke them down, try to get a little bit, secure some last hits for the Lycan. But as we're seeing right now, March has 2 last hits compared to the Weaver's 15 and 4. So right now, this is just completely dominating for Arrow. They're blocking their pull, they're getting levels on their supports, while MVP is getting little to nothing. The tree is trying to look around, trying to walk around, trying to get his levels, but he had to go armor first instead of getting Leech Seed, which we usually do see. And the same thing in middle lane. We see the Razor just super pressuring that Nyx, but the Nyx is doing incredibly well under that factor anyway. He's 7 and 3, even though the Razor's 11 and 8. I was expecting that Nyx to be doing a lot worse.
I would imagine it will get worse as time goes on, though.
Absolutely.
Not to take anything away, of course, but it's just one of those matchups that exponentially gets worse and worse and worse as levels come up on a hero like Razor, who can just bully you around as much as we've been seeing. The Prophet is doing okay-ish. He's the only one really in range now from MVP. Obviously, the status quo is not something they can afford to maintain at this point. I mean, just look how badly that Nyx is getting battered and bruised there from nothing. But Static Link up at top. March in a lot of trouble, being helped out by the tree armor. They will manage to bring down the Ancient Apparition, but they're going to lose March in exchange for it. Johnny, though, could be in trouble as the Nature's Prophet has joined in the fight. He's going to turn and throw out a stun. He will end up dying behind the fight, but Phoenix looking to get some work done. A Sprout on...
that was a beautiful Sprout. Yep. Blocked the Weaver from running away. They might actually get the kill on him here if they get a couple more right clicks on him, but he's got to get the Sakuchi. See, that's only because of the farm that he has, though. He was able to buy those treads because the 2 kills he got, so he was able to tread swap, walk away, and just be safe in that. But the Furion port there, although they do gain a couple kills, and we do see the Razor pressuring the Nyx Assassin, but he does end up getting an Invis and he's okay. But this tri-lane top is the one to watch, really. I mean, there's going to be a lot of action up here. As long as the Furion keeps porting up there, they do have a shot of contesting this tri-lane. But that gives the Darkseer complete free farm and able to pressure that bottom town. And we do see MVP already reacting, and they put March bottom right away. Because they know he's getting absolutely nothing up there versus that tri-lane.
Still going to be a tough lane. You're talking a melee hero versus the Darkseer. He is going to have the Wolves, so the Wolves will help. Darkseer,
a lot of people have been looking at it, and Darkseer is an amazing hero versus Lycan. He puts so much pressure early. Of course, the Wolves at level 7 start taking reduced damage, and they have the regen, but it's just not enough. And we do see Furion port top again, so he's just going to be staying up there the whole time and trying to save that top lane.
Well, they're going to have at least a little bit of range now to try and last hit with, so do feel like that's actually about as good a move as MVP could have made, especially given the way that they were able to kind of get things back to a reasonable range. At 5 minutes, we're at 2 kills apiece, and now they have a chance to maybe turn this lane around, especially whenever you're talking about the Treants coming out. Just got to make sure they don't do what they're doing right now, which is feeding them for free gold and little harass. Howl, of course, does help them as well. So, yeah, I mean, the ports from the Furion, obviously the big factor. But now with the lanes reset the way they are, which team do you think's under the most pressure? Seems like Arrow's still going to want to dominate, not just mid, but elsewhere as well. And DDZ's actually going to get the courier here. Total miss micro from QO, and he had so much damage stolen that it was very, very simple for him to bring him down with just a couple of cracks of the whip. And I didn't actually see if the courier had anything on it, but still a huge, huge step forward. And now the Rubik going to be dove near his own tier 1. Weaver rushing past the Sprout. The damage should be there quite easily. Lance securing a kill, but here comes March. And now Phoenix losing the Treant Protector as well. March coming back out to try and get some return damage. Lance, does he have enough mana for Shikuchi? No, he doesn't. He's actually short, so he's going to have to hoof it the hard way. Does have a set of treads up. Now he's going to turn around and actually do a little right click, but finally has enough for the Shikuchi and does manage to double back and around to his own teammate. So another big win for Arrow as they not only get the courier, but they do snag a couple of kills in the process, make it 4-2.
And even though it's super early in the game, you don't really ever want to look at the gold graph at this point, but looking at it already, it's almost 4,000.
Not a tower down.
No towers down at all. The courier kill, of course, is massive because it gives 175 gold to almost every single hero on the map for Arrow. But the Darkseer is getting absolute free farm. He's pressuring the tower because the Lycan was forced to port up there, trying to get some kills, and he gained nothing at him. We do see Lance gone on top, and they do end up getting a kill on him, which is very, very good, which is they desperately, desperately need. And it gets the fear on his level 6. It gets Rubik a couple levels too. He bought a dust there for that, so he's got his level 5. So Rubik is very over leveled at this point. But looking at the creep score, Darkseer, Razor, and Weaver are by far the top 3, and then it's 3 of the MVP top farmers, the core heroes on MVP. So it's completely looking in Arrow's favor at this point, like we were really predicting at the point before this.
Yep. Well, I mean, this is kind of like you said, the prediction, and even down to the draft, going very one-dimensional and just hoping that they manage to get a snowball win. But it is a pretty tough situation whenever you add your Furion and your Nyx Assassin's last hits and they don't equal up to the Darkseer. That Darkseer is going to have a mech really quickly. He's well on the way to it. Lance is now in mid. He's giving some harassment to QO. That'll proc the Carapace. He'll take a couple more auto attacks as he rushes uphill, so he'll make it that safe. But now that top lane is left completely unfettered as well, and we see all of that pressure the Darkseer is putting on. This map is beginning to collapse now for MVP. What's the right call? How do you try to get this together?
They have to try to defend their towers, but the problem is that Arrow is going to end up... They're going to get this mech on the Darkseer very, very soon. They have a bunch of other core items up on their heroes. The Weaver's already got treads. He's got his Bassy. He's got a stick. He's got a ring health. He's going to be going for that Lincoln's. AA is only level 4, so yeah, of course, the supports on Arrow are a bit under-leveled, but not even so much because they're an aggressive tri-lane. We see a level 5 Wraith King, we see a level 4 AA, we see the Weaver's already level 6, so I'm pretty sure that Arrow's going to end up... As soon as they get this mech up on this Darkseer, they're going to stick together and they're just going to pressure towers and take it down. And MVP can't react. Looking at their heroes, their 5-man is not the strongest at all.
Not at all. Well, and the thing is, we were talking about it with the Wraith King, but it's very equally applicable to the Treant Protector. He's very much a hero that gives you a lot or he gives you just about nothing. Yes. And a big part of that is if you're able to bring down the tier 1s early, you don't allow living armor to get allow him to get a few points in it to keep those tier 1s standing inordinately long. You get that infusion of gold that allows you to get out items like the mech, which we can already see is already done. Other items to come out on support heroes like a Blink on the Wraith King or whatever else you want to put together. But that's all aside, as you said, they just don't team fight well. They have overgrowth and an impale, maybe if it catches a couple. A lot of these things are... It's
just not enough, though, either way, no matter what. Right. And we do see March, he doesn't even go for his max wolf boost, he's maxing Howl. So that's... He doesn't even have invisible wolves. His wolves are basically absolutely they're actually worthless. They're free gold at this point. And the Howl is really trying to making up for the damage that they lack in their tri-lane and everything, but it's just really not going to do anything at this point when Arrow already has so much farm on all their heroes. And yeah, we do see the mech flying all the way out to that Darkseer already. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see them either 5-man very, very soon, if not just try to split push and take 2 towers at the same time because they're not feeling any pressure.
Yep. Honestly, I think they're just going to try to make something happen down here with DDZ.
And it looks like QO actually gets a haste rune. He's Vendettaing bottom. Let's see if he's going to go for this courier slump. He might actually get it here. Yeah, he's going to. Oh, the Furion's going to get it instead. They don't want to... Yeah, he's got it. Good Sprout there. They didn't want to waste the Vendetta for that, and that's a really smart play. And they do Furion ulti to try to push out the guy's bottom, but look at them diving this.
Yep.
They're not scared. They're not afraid at all.
Nope, they've got a mech. That's going to prompt some TPs, though. Here we go. Rubik's there, walls down as well. They're going to try to sap some more damage from him. And yeah, March can't come in at all. So Rice is going to end up dead for sure. DDZ hanging very low health, but still able to hang and bang. And just look at the damage
Look,
he
he's
has.
not even
Good
scared.
Sprout. But they can't even engage. Like they can't
2
get
versus
near the
4 right there.
It's because of the ultimate and just how much damage he's doing. Well shot, impaled at a lockdown DDZ. Do they have enough damage to bring him down? Leech Seed going to slow him down, but they lose the tree. They're going to lose QO as well. March now in trouble as Johnny shows up and helps to clean house along with the Darkseer. 3-for-1 exchange, and this is already looking very, very bad. Up at top, the Weaver is also split pushing the tier 1, so the entire map beginning to collapse around MVP's ears.
Yeah, AA was just farming mid. He's like, you know what? I have no worry. I don't have to go over there. There's no point in me running over there. Look where they're diving, and they're doing fine over there.
Yep.
The Wraith King ran over there. He got a kill, and now he's level 7. He's got 1,000 gold on him as well. He's got his reincarnation, of course. And he's going to be... Yeah, he's got shreds on this support Wraith King with an aggressive tri-lane in already 10 minutes. Looking at the heroes on MVP, the 2 support heroes there, you have Naked Boots on both of them. The Rubik is getting very close to his Arcane Boots. He does get his 6, which is very good. And Tree, yeah, he's just bought a lot of wards, so he's going to try to board up the map, but... they're going to start losing towers very, very soon because this tree, he has to armor the towers, but then that means his heroes on the map are at risk of being dove.
March doing everything he can to try and find some help up at top or just find some farmer, anything. We actually see Cold Feet stolen by Rubik, so love that handy dandy pop in, such a nice change. At bottom, that tier 1's not even going to be contested. They're going to take it for sure. In mid, they're going to try to counter push though, and the tier 1 there for sure will drop, but that's a very healthy tower, so they'll have more than enough time to come back and force MVP back. Hell, they can't even stand against the tower right now.
Yeah, and Arrow doesn't even really look too worried about MVP pushing a tower because they're so underleveled and underfarmed. They're all their heroes. They just, Darkseer just ports in the front. He's like, hey, what's up? Bring it on.
Something we didn't even really talk about is the fact that, Weaver is now sufficiently
right now.
farmed.
March might get dove.
Yeah, I was going to say, are they going to go?
He's still got his ulti form up. He's too risky with the tree armor.
Well, that's exactly what I was actually going to point out. Hang on, AA Ultimate's going to be there, and on the mark, QO, down again. And Johnny is level 8. That's a level 8 support Wraith King, so he's certainly having an excellent early game.
Yeah, he's the same level as the solo mid on MVP.
That is ridiculous, actually.
Absolutely.
But Weaver at this point, he's got enough items up that he is just going to be that elusive, hard to gank split pusher. But the other 4 standing for Arrow, hold that thought, as Heen is caught by Johnny. He has the Ion Shell on as well. There's the vacuum, and they're going to clean him up with nothing but AoE. But this is actually proving the point I was going to make. The 4 outside of Weaver, just the Wraith King, the Darkseer, the Ancient Apparition, the Razor, they don't need Weaver.
No,
Weaver can just go farm. It's fine.
Yeah, he's just going to go pressure lane. He's going to go pressure lane on his own. He's like, you know what? You guys go do your own thing. I'm doing perfectly fine. MVP has a lift and an stun.
Yep, and an impale.
At this point, like, he's already tanky enough to be able to survive that. If he's just has a strength charge, he's got his ultimate orb and a ring of health already, so he's just pressuring the tower, and he's going to end up getting it here.
Yep, and Lance doesn't even care. Yep, just going to time lapse. Tower might get denied, so a very, very marginal win for them. At bottom, we can actually see how easily they're dealing with the Nature's Prophet. Make no mistake, Treants with Howl on them, especially when he's maxed it, are very, very efficient at bringing down towers. But you have a Darkseer who doesn't care who has a mech. He'll just vacuum them in, Ion Shell them down, and yes, you'll get some damage done, but the whole time that's going on, the rest of your team's losing elsewhere. Now we'll have a lift on the Johnny. A Ultimate will be shot. Going to hit nothing but a little bit of woods in the meantime.
Really good lift by Ryzen there. He would have died if he got Hellfire blasted, or Wraithfire blasted, absolutely. And we do see they don't even go for that tower tonight. They're like, you know what? We're confident that Tree can heal it up and we can maybe try to defend it, but it's going to be really hard because that's one of those, the tier 1 towers are very hard to defend. We do see that ward coming out of MVP up on that top lane. They're just trying to get vision. They really want to defend that top tier 1 tower.
Oh, yeah. Well, they know, like, they just can't afford to give up too many more. Like, they already lost bottom. They're going to try to take a big fight here. What did he get? He got Shikuchi, so good steal there for Rubik. But
I just don't see how they can defend this tower, though.
March is honestly playing pretty bravely standing where he is at the moment. Yeah, and there's the stun to come out. And we're going to end up having the AA Blast as well. Ice Blast catches March on the way out. Don't think he's going to end up shattering, but it doesn't matter. The damage is so immense coming out of the other 4 from Arrow. Heen can do nothing but Nature's Guise to safety. They're going to try to reinitiate. However, Johnny up off of his ultimate, slows down QO as he tried to come in and get some damage done. Instead, feeds another death. Make it 12-4. And when you see the Tree Protector still hiding, and they know he's
spotted him.
Yep. Not sure how he got eyes on him, but definitely did get a look at him. And
he thinks he blocked him in, but he actually didn't end up getting it there. So they're going to waste a little bit of time up there. But the Darkseer also, during that team fight, he has a Blink Dagger. And looking at the net worth, it's insane already.
Yeah.
At the 14-minute mark, you really don't see
doubling
this.
them.
You never see this happen in a lot of games, like almost never.
Yep. This is very close to that mark that I'd say I see it as a professional caster at most once a month during busy months, but even then it's still very rare. 1,000 gold per minute lead generated is roughly where they are at the moment.
And that's terrifying. I mean, at this point, if you're in MVP shoes, I think what I would, if I was on that team, I'd be like, all right, guys, let's smoke up and go to Roche. We got to try the Roche on. Like, at least they're not running down there. They're running at our top lane constantly, so you know what? what? Let's bring the pressure somewhere else. At least try to do something, because this is already getting absolutely devastating. Because Nyx, he went top, he did his Vendetta, but he killed the Wraith King, so he just popped the ult and ended up dying for that. So it just was a completely negative factor there.
I'm on board with you. I mean, we could see the Lycan still very short of his Vladimir's, and why not just take that gold that you've invested in that, buy a medallion, go in there with Nature's Prophet, and take your best shot, man. Like, you may as well.
We know. Like I was saying before, we know what Arrow's strategy is going to be. They're going to go together, either 3-4 heroes, and they're just going to push towers down. And there's nothing MVP can really respond with. We see a 15-minute aggressive tri-lane Linken's coming out on the Weaver. That's just insane.
Absurd.
He's got 102 CS on that Weaver at 15 minutes. That's just absurd. It's about 7 CS a minute. Which you really do not see coming out, even out of short lane farmers.
Oh, and we can see Heen taking some more damage up at top. He might die. Yeah, he will. Dies in the plasma field, so DDZ.
And mid's getting gone on as well, and we do see Johnny get a good stun off. His ult's down, but he might go down. But no, he does not even going to go down. They're going to get both kills on both of them. Wow. They killed the mid solo and the support there, so huge right there for Arrow. Again, they just got 3 for 0.
At what point, and I don't mean this... I don't mean this snarkily, it's just an honest question. Like, this game is so completely out of control. You have a one-dimensional lineup that really doesn't have a comeback mechanic in it. I guess you could sit back and say, yeah, we can split push. I don't know how, but, they're just so far ahead at the moment.
I think pretty soon you start questioning that GG, thinking about the next game, because it's demoralizing.
Right, exactly.
It really is.
I'm not a professional player, but staying in a game and losing a game for 40 minutes or so, or even just 20 or 30, that has to wear on you psychologically.
And especially when the Furion just tried to sprout the Weaver, and he's like, oh my god, he has a Linken's. Like, oh god, this is what we're dealing with already at this point? Oh man.
It just about made me choke on my monster. Oh god. The thought of that going through the player's mind.
It's true, it's terrifying. And we do see March actually picking up the Vlad, so he's starting to recover a little bit, but they can't defend this middle tower at all. They're going to start losing complete map control, and the Weaver is already ludicrously farmed, and Razor as well. We haven't even really talked about as much. He went for Treads, Drum, Bottle, and he's got 4,000 gold after this tower goes down.
They're going to try to make something happen. They've got Nyx under Vendetta. He's poking his nose around. Looks like Arrow is just going to flat out... They're just burning it down. And, there's that Linken's. Sorry, Rube.
And that's just... As a Rubik, once a Weaver gets Linken's, especially if it's this early, you're just dead.
Yep.
You're just like, oh, I reacted, but I'm dead no matter what I can do.
It's like a bottom. Like, March trying like hell. Just look how quick he's going to die. They're going to get him probably... No.
Close.
Thought maybe.
But MVP does get their first tower. Yep. They do get that bottom safe lane tower. So the Furion is not doing too poorly. He's going to have his book 2 pretty soon. So he's going to be able to split push a bit. But now we do see Arrow, instead of MVP, going into that Roche pit. And they're going to get that Roche for free. I don't think there's anything MVP can do to really contest that, unless they get like a 4-man or 5-man impale with a giant Furion ulti. And everything has to land perfectly for them. Because now Wraith King's ultimate's going to be up again.
Yep.
Very, very soon.
Well, he's almost level 11, so it's going to be getting shorter.
Yep.
Like he's already level 10.
And he bought his Blink Dagger, but it's at base, so fair enough. And they do end up deciding, you know what, it's not worth the risk. Yep. We're so far ahead, we don't have to go for that Roshan. Yep. They got it to half health. They can just wait. If they get a pick off, that's a free Roshan for them.
Yep, double damage rune hanging out there for them as well. What did Rubik get? Managed to get the static link.
Not too bad. Plasma field.
Oh, plasma field, yeah.
Oh, we do see QO. I don't know what he was doing actually with that Vendetta, but he does end up getting picked off.
There's the pick. And let's see if that's going to make them want to go in.
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely. For sure. Especially if that hero's dead. They did have the Sentry Ward down, so I guess QO just ran into it and he just got stunned right away.
Yep. Roche going to end up dropping DDZ, not even going to hang around.
They don't want to lose anything here. DDZ's like, you know what, you guys got that Roche without me. I'm going to go defend this top tower. I want to lose nothing. And DDZ bought a full SNY in one
shot. And if there is a bright spot here, Prophet did go Midas, had it up at a fair enough time. Certainly not great given the way the laning phase went, but okay-ish. And he's now got a book 2, so his ability to push, especially with Howl with 3 points, and he actually didn't end up maxing it. It looked like he was going to, but I ended up focusing instead on the Wolves for a while. That's going to be enough to... Jeez, just look at the damage he takes, though. But yeah, like, it's going to be enough to allow them to do this. Like, this is a fair amount of pressure, and they're getting a fair amount of damage done, so, maybe this is it. Maybe they can just do this for the next half an hour.
The problem is just that Arrow even has aggressive wards inside of MVP's jungle. Yeah, they're going to expire soon, but they do see everything that MVP's trying to do. And look at the way Arrow's playing. They're like, we have no pressure on us whatsoever. We are perfectly fine with this. We're going to farm. Our Darkseer's got Blink, Mech, a Plate Mail, and another 900 gold on him, plus a Soul Ring and Arcane Boots on top of all of that. So that Darkseer is absolutely enormous, and it's 14,000 gold lead right now in the favor of Arrow. So MVP just has a really tough time. They have to find some beautiful pickoffs, which is going to be really difficult because even if they go for this Razor, I don't think they can kill him.
Yeah, I don't either, actually. How about those heroes?
He's got 1,700 health, and he's 460 movement speed without even popping the drum charge, and he's got bottle charges as well, plus the magic stick. So it's going to be... I just don't really see what MVP can really do. And look at DDZ. Yeah. This is just the way that I was saying when we were doing the before the draft even started. The way that he plays, he knows what he can do. He knows the limits that he can push. If he dies sometimes, it ends up happening. But he knows it doesn't matter. He's making so much space on that. We do see Lance tried to go on the tree down there, but he just invis right away. So.
There's a reaction coming. Looks like they might try to take a shot at him, but again, he has a Lincoln's and an Aegis, so at best they get the Aegis, but even that's a little wishful thinking. Yeah. 3 heroes converging. Looked like he wanted to sprout it. And
there's no way that they can kill him. They have no lockdown on their team. They need it.
And look at top in the meantime. They're literally zoning them off of their tier 2, cutting creeps behind there. And there's nothing MVP can do. They have a lineup that, because they're so far behind, has to split push instead of just push in. And yeah, the split push isn't really an option at the moment.
And yeah, I mean, a lot of teams, when they're starting to not do so hot with Lycan, they do end up sending they spawn the wolves and they send them on supports. Because, of course, it's invisible. So if you just follow the supports, you're able to see the action that they're trying to do. We do see some action. Maybe we do see March maybe trying to get engaged on here. He might go down, but looks like he's okay.
No, I think it's going to be close. No,
he's all right.
Yeah, he's fine.
Should be all right.
Yeah, a little tankier than I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just lost my train of thought.
Lance engaged on at bottom as his Lincoln's popped. It's a little bit of damage. Time lapses every bit of it, so.
Buys a full Desolator on the courier, too.
Yep, because he can.
One of the most terrifying things as support is fighting against a Weaver when he has a Lincoln's Desolator. And if he has gave him the TP by accident, but a Lincoln's Desolator at 21 minutes, it's terrifying, because no matter, you're going to get two-shotted. Like, he might even go for this Nyx Assassin. If the Nyx Assassin doesn't respond quickly with his Carapace, he might even die. Let's see what ends up happening.
And looks like, there's a courier snipe, and QO going to be pursued, and he will die. Just about. Nope, hang on, Tree Armor's there. March coming in to help. Now Lance doesn't have time lapse. He's going to run, and should be able to make it away.
No fear.
Yep, he's good.
Yeah, he's doing... that's some insane farm, honestly. He does have some Treants killed, of course, and some Wolves, but 166 CS at the 22-minute mark. Yeah, whatever, it's just an Aegis. Like, I don't think he really minds too much of it, but he has to be careful. He might actually be able to go down again here if they do get some good lockdown.
Has time lapse ready. If he needs it, he's going to have to... Nope. Well played that time. So.
Cocky play. Yeah. Very, very cocky there by Lance. His team's nowhere around there, but you know what? I don't think they really care about that too much. And we do see something smart I was going to point out as well. That's what I was trying to think about. Was AA decided, you know what? I don't need items this game at this point already. Our Wraith King already has Blink Dagger and everything, so I'm just going to buy a gem. Because you don't want these wolves following you around, seeing what your supports are doing, what everything's happening. You want to take down the map control. You want to control the full game, and that's what really...
Not just for this stage of the game, but honestly good enough for most stages of the game. He will end up eating some damage here. A ultimate will be shot. Ice Blast. Not going to be on the mark. And Johnny, using his wand charges, will go ahead and exit to see if he can buy some time. We'll go ahead and engage, and March is split pushing, but there was a stun on the QO. Johnny's right there in front. We'll have his ulti popped, and guess what? They're not going anywhere. Nyx Assassin drops, and now he next on the list. As DDZ is on a dominating streak, and could not say it better myself, Mega Kill Announcer, he is dominating and has dominated this entire qualifier. They even get the Rubik, and a double kill now for him. And looks like, this potentially could be a 2-3.
Yeah, I think that they should really just call the GG. It's really demoralizing. It's 20-5 right at this point. Rubik's in a buyout. You know what? It's the qualifiers. They're really just going to put everything into it. But we do... Arrow is going to have almost double the net worth.
Scepter's gonna be done plus a little bit more for DZ. March.
Oh,
good vacuum. Oh, what a play. That's the thing, sadly for us and for the spectators anyway. Arrow's been so far ahead for so long, we haven't even seen the potential for that many big plays, because they haven't had 5-man. They've been able to just split up and make things happen in small packs, but right there we saw the team fight potential. We knew they had. QO once again engaged upon by Johnny. DDZ comes in, does a bit of damage, but the carapace enough to buy him some time to retreat. The racks being banged down, and look at Lance going to work now on the tier 2 bottom. This will be the last outer tier tower remaining for MVP. He's going to come in and get off the overgrowth, so Lance stopped in his tracks. His Lincolns ends up eating the leech seed, but they might get him anyway, and if they do, it'll be a nice pick. Ultimate's there, and here comes the rest of the troops as Arrow now looking to re-engage, and QO, poor guy, dead again. Came very close to being able to bring down Lance, but regenning up off of that earn charge, and Heen, buddy, just go home, dude. Go home.
But you can just see Arrow they want to give up nothing in this game. I mean, Lance did play very, very cocky bottom. He lost that Aegis and died for himself, and we do see them engaging on the tree bottom, so he's probably going to end up dying because Wraith King's Blink's going to be up pretty soon, and he's not fast enough to run away from that.
Yep, they got
Goodbye,
you.
Ian.
Yep. She gone to the house, dude.
Condolences.
Nothing good for you out there.
But Arrow is just, although they're so far ahead, they're still not playing cocky. I mean, Lance played very cocky, like I was saying before, but they're porting and defending all of their towers
Right.
as best that they can. And we do see Darkseer picking up a Shivas now at this point. So, yes, the amount of farm on Arrow is just absolutely insane. And we do see, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened.
Being a Rubik versus like I was saying, being a Rubik versus a Weaver with this farm is the most depressing thing in the world because you just get two-shotted and you're just like, what do I do? He's got Lincolns. I can't even. If I nuke him and I lift him, maybe I get it. But then he just runs at me anyway.
Yep. Last tower drops. That's on the outer tier, and the mid rack's already missing.
Going for that courier.
Yep. Courier's
Wants
hustling
it.
though. QO there to run some interference in case he needed to, but yeah, at this point, looks like Arrow just about ready to put a cherry on it. Another push should be just about enough to end it, and hard to imagine what MVP can possibly draw upon to keep this game going. I mean, the Wraith King is within striking distance of your highest farmed carry right now, or highest farmed core in the Nature's Prophet. Everyone else is less farmed than everyone on the side of Arrow right now. Literally,
We
your
do see
entire
March
team.
picking up a BKB though. He did get an item at least after that Vlad's. It's gonna. He really can't do much with it because BKB is a good item, but looking at the lineup of Arrow, what's that BKB really gonna do? I mean, AA Blast.
Static Link.
It goes
Pretty
through
good
it.
ability.
Static Link is amazing versus
Yeah.
BKBs. On top of all that, this Weaver is already so enormous. He's got his Deso Lincolns, and he knows I don't need more damage. I need survivability, so he buys this Reaver up, and now he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're not going to be able to kill him with 3 or 4 heroes unless they get a perfect initiation off on him.
And they're going to split push it. Lance now shoving in top by himself, while the rest of the team makes their way down bottom lane. And Lance sufficiently survivable, like you said, that Reaver just makes him such an impossible target to really deal with. And yeah, good attempt there, QO, but looks like your bottom racks are going to be the price paid.
And DDZ almost has a refreshers on that Razor as well as an Aghanim, so the buildings are going to absolutely melt, even though there's already a racks down. And yeah, personally, if I was in the hands of MPP, I'd probably GG very soon because you just don't want to keep playing a game like this. It's really demoralizing. They do pick off Johnny, though, because they did burn his mana, so he didn't get his ulti off, but they don't need him at this point. They really don't. Even though Darkseer's taking a ton of mana from that mana burn, it's just not enough. They're just running around them in circles.
Chase them down, the last stragglers. We'll see Rubik die once again. Godlike streak is on for DDZ. March can't do much but run for the well. QO eating that damage. He's going to pop the BKB and re-engage, and does manage to bring
Godlike.
down. Yeah. So they did manage to bring down the Razor. But Forev about the drop, and everyone else now ready to turn it around as not only does his ultimate wear off, but there we
And
go.
that's the GGs.
GG. Lance securing the final kill, the final nail in the coffin, as Arrow, as predicted, shows what could be their championship form and take a game 1 against MVP. MVP, one of the surprises of this qualifier, still coming in heavy underdogs and showing it here, 31-7 in a game that lasted just short of 28 minutes. Standout performer as well. Honestly, the whole team was a standout. I guess you could say Johnny's a feeder with 2 deaths, huh?
I guess so, but I mean, honestly, I just feel like Arrow had them.
Securing themselves a slot in Seattle, all things forgotten for them. They'll be going for sure. MVP Phoenix, if they drop this game, still has a chance to fight out of the lower bracket. We'll, of course, cover that towards the end of this if they do end up losing. The draft, Nature's Prophet and Mirana for Arrow. We'll see MVP Phoenix go ahead and grab themselves a Death Prophet and a Treant Protector.
Yeah, but looking at the bans, same exact bans as last game. You know what? MVP doesn't want to play against DDC's Invoker, and they don't want to play against Doom at all in general. And they do first pick this Tree again, which, of course, I mean, Tree's an amazing hero, but a lot of people have said, if you don't play with this hero a lot, and if you don't know how to play this hero perfectly, he can either be your make or break.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't really agree with just picking it just because, everybody else picks it. I don't think that's a good mentality ever.
Yep.
And then we do see Arrow Gaming just first 2, right after that Treant's Protector's pick, they pick the Furin and the Mirana. So they know that what MVP's going to go for. They know that they're going to go for a Furin again right after that because that's what they did the last game.
Yep.
And MVP decides to anyway go for Death Prophet, which, I mean, in the first 2, you're giving away so much by picking that Death Prophet.
Exactly.
There's not many places where that guy can lane. Where is the Death Prophet going to go? Okay, he can go in the short lane, but he's pretty awful in the short lane. His only real big position is that mid lane, so you can abuse it really hard by that. You can end up picking just like an OD, and just he can lane against it, or they can end up doing so many other things that if they want to. And you can already tell what MVP is going to go for. They want to push towers. They want to just end the game as quick as possible and try to do that because they're scared. It really just seems like they're scared of Arrow at this point.
Honestly, scared maybe, but I just see it as them knowing the odds and knowing, you know what, a dice roll really is our best chance against this team. We know they're above our level right now. Doesn't mean that, if we do make it to TI, we're not going to have time to practice and maybe get to that level. But today, that's not the case. Instead, why don't we give ourselves the best opportunity to make as big a game as we possibly can? But I'm right there with you. I mean, what are the chances of the Death Prophet being banned? Why now? Why the first two?
I would never see a reason for it, honestly. Yeah. You give away everything, and Arrow is just going to pick Chen.
Yep.
Which is a little weird, actually.
Honestly, I don't mind it, because think about what Death Prophet needs to really be effective. Levels, time, a little bit of farm, etc. Well, now you've got a Chen, a Prophet, and a Mirana, three of the most aggressive heroes, no matter where you lane them. You can honestly do anything with them, obviously. Chen, a little bit more locked down there, but it doesn't matter. If they roam the Chen and the Nature Prophet is level 2, he's going to be able to come in and be a +1, and that's an automatic kill. And it doesn't matter what they do against the Death Prophet. Like you said, they can even pick something if they can anticipate the lanes accurately. Just go, yeah, we're just going to pick an OD, and you're going to be completely useless. And we'll kill you whenever we feel like it because you have no escape, and you're going to have Chen pressuring you. You're going to have a lot of pressure in that lane from creeps, even if Chen's not around. And we have a +1 at any given moment, and once Mirana's level 6, she can simply Moonlight Shadow, and you have to deal with having detection all game when you're already poor and broke if you're losing your lanes as badly as you did in game 1. So it just seems very methodical from Arrow and MVP. I guess, I mean, we still have draft to talk about, but it's so hard to not sound fatalistic based on how good and how sharp Arrow looked in game 1.
Yeah, and overall, we just know Arrow just drafted so well last game. They knew how to lane as well. And the way MVP drafted already, I mean, okay, it's only 2 heroes, sure. But like I was saying before, Death Prophet can't really go too many places, and you can really just punish a team if they pick that within the first 2. If you're going to pick a Death Prophet, you want to know what mid hero you're going to be playing against, and you want to be able to punish it. Like, Death Prophet is an amazing hero versus like these Lycan mids, Naga mids, stuff like this, because this hero excels versus these melee heroes. So, I mean, I don't really agree with the way MVP is trying to approach this already, and they do end up banning a Shadow Demon and an AA. So I guess they don't want to deal with. I just don't understand. I don't really understand why. I understand the Shadow Demon ban obviously because of the Potom, but the AA ban, is that just because the Furion ulti? They're that scared of the global presence? I mean, that hero, we have seen him fall off a lot. We do see a Witch Doctor come up for MVP, so now even more so, you see them trying to ball up and trying to go for this 5-man push down heroes because the heal on Witch Doctor is really overlooked. Cask, of course, is extremely powerful. Everybody loves, look at it go. It just bounces all over the place. It goes nuts, and the ulti is extremely powerful later on if you get that Aghanim Scepter. You're basically a carry on a support. But they're going to be locked into this, and I mean, a lot of people also... Actually, you know what? Actually, I'm going to take it back a little bit because Witch Doctor Cask is very good versus Chen creeps. So maybe that is a little bit what they're trying to go through. So they're trying to defend it a little bit. But, of course, the heal is very, very good with this push-type lineup, plus Treant. But, looking at these 2 heroes, Treant and Witch Doctor, they're very good in aggressive tri-lane if they want to do this. But if they don't, these 2 heroes can't move.
Yep. Honestly, aggressive tri-lane is what would seem to make the most sense based on what Arrow's already shown you. Pretty surely it's going to be the Nature's Prophet in an off lane or at least a solo lane position. Chen needs to be in the jungle. So regardless of wherever the other 2 go, Mirana, supposing she is going to be a core and not a mid, if she ends up being a farming carry, she'll have +1 support. And maybe you have a chance to bully that with a Train and a Witch Doctor and a +1. I mean, Chen does take some time, and it does end up taking away from his effectiveness to pressure other lanes. So, I mean, it's... Like, I'm just trying to go through my head where MVP Phoenix could go with this, but it just feels so all in. And even though, we just finished saying dice roll might be their best chance, there's a way, like, if you go to a roulette wheel, you don't bet on green, okay? You bet on red or black. Yeah. So I feel like maybe they're not giving themselves the best possible opportunity with such a narrow draft. And like you said, a transparent draft. You know exactly what's coming.
And we have seen a lot of teams do this Treant Witch Doctor aggressive, so... Even if they decide to do this and Arrow predicts it, they can just put 1 hero up there. They can put a Mirana up there.
Right.
These heroes can push the tower decently well, but they can't really just take it down right away. And now, we do see DDZ's Tinker being picked up right away. And another thing that I was going to say is that what they can do with the Chen is that they do have this Furion offlane. The Chen could just go into the enemy jungle and just punish that short lane and take that tower as soon as possible, because with the Chen Cleep plus Furion Treants, that tower is going to be decimated if you don't move people to defend it right away.
Right. And that kind of speaks to the fragility of what MVP is up to. to. Like you said, aggressive does make sense. It makes sense, especially with the Chen on the board. But now, I mean, just theory crafting it out. What if they end up doing something like a solo Tinker that goes March of the Machines level 1? It's like, yes, he's not going to get a ton of farm, but he will get his levels, and he'll be able to keep the tower standing for a long time while the other lanes are pressured. So
yeah, I mean, March level 1 it's pretty weak, so you can kind of just walk through and hit the towers and stuff like that. But they need to pick a very, very strong hero that fits with this tri lane in order for them to just be able to just bully it.
Right.
But they can put Arrow can put so many different heroes. I don't know if we'll really see that Tinker going in the top lane because I mean DDZ is the mid and he loves his Tinker, and we do see a Tidehunter picked up by MVP. So yeah, this is a really early game draft. Like right now they have 0 core, they have 0 carry. They have a Death Prophet. Death Prophet does of course an immense amount of physical damage because of his ultimate, but they don't have a late game. So Arrow right now they have a decent amount of late game. Where Tinker in the late game is absolutely monstrous. Potom is okay, but Furion also scales well. So right now they have like a semi tri-core type of lineup with this Furion, Mirana, Tinker, and then on their last pick they're gonna go for Revenge. So now they have auras as well, and MVP has to watch out also for a level 1 Roche at this point because those heroes can absolutely do it.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Level 1 Roche very much available to them if they want to take a shot at it. Still waiting to see what MVP Phoenix is going to fit into this.
They banned out the Bane too.
Yeah,
they're really scared of that Potom +1 combo, the Shadow Demon Bane and all that. So
well, before Death Prophet really tanks up, aside from the combo with Nightmare into Arrow, just having Fiend's Grip to lock down a Death Prophet, just hold her still, can turn that around. And they're going to go with the Slarders. So, well, that's a lot of heroes that need a lot of a good start. These are not heroes that play well from behind. Slardar needs a Blink Dagger very early. Tidehunter, even if he doesn't go Blink, who knows who they'll end up building the mech on, but it's usually going to be Blink or Mech. I don't know. Like,
curious at these lanes though.
Yeah,
because I mean, we saw QO playing the Nyx mid last game, and now he's playing Slardar. So I guess he's going to be doing that short lane farming Slardar, and March is going to be on the mid solo Death Prophet. But then, are they going to just put these 2 support heroes on the short lane with the Slardar, or are they going to send it with the Tidehunter? Because Tidehunter is extremely powerful now. That 60% reduction is insane. You do no damage. You hit him and you're like, what's happening? He doesn't even have a stat sheet. What's going on here?
Right.
Like it's really, really overlooked. I mean, some people of course look at it and they're just like, it's super powerful, but 60% reduction is insane.
Moving on into the match. Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is game number 2 of the qualifiers in the SEA region. This TI4 coverage brought to you by, presented by Monster Energy here on the NA Hub. And Arrow looking to solidify their bid for a trip to Seattle, while MVP...
Another level 1 smoke by Arrow, too.
Yep. Well, this is what you were talking about. They may... Yeah, both teams are moving out very quickly, and it looks like a lot of pings are going out on that Roche pit. And we'll see how much attention is going to be paid there. Mirana's actually...
They're going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going for that level 1 Roche.
Mirana's staying on the high ground, and she shoots an arrow out. And we'll connect on Roche.
Look at the Mirana's items too. Wraithband, Clarity, Branch. So yeah, they're going for this Roche right now. And it might actually end up working. It looks like MVP might have an idea of it if the Slardar goes for it, but they don't have their tide.
Yeah.
They don't have their tide.
Well, the Roche down to about 2/3 health already. And if they're going to try to do anything, if they have any suspicion of it,
they have no idea.
No, they don't know. They were expecting some kind of movement. At some point, this has to dawn on them. Like you said, whenever you look and you see a Nature's Prophet, you see a Mirana, and most notably that Venge in there, this has to be on your mind. And if they realize it now, it might even be too late.
Wow, look at this Venge set too. It's beautiful. I actually have never seen a Venge set like that one, to be honest with you.
That is quite nice. I love her hair.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yep, we're talking about cosmetic hair. And now that I will be spotted out.
Spots it out, but it's too late.
Magic Missile, and he's in trouble. The arrow, nope, not there to follow, but the Sprout certainly is. There's a little bit of laser and rocket action as they got a couple of levels. And, well, we were talking about how MVP had to have a good start. Don't know that giving up a level 1 Roshan as well as First Blood on your Slardar is the best way to get a game going.
Man, and that's if I were in MVP's shoes, it's... Oh, that's you give up a kill and the Roshan at the same time. So it's just getting the level 1 Roche for Arrow is huge. Yep. It's almost game winning in its own instance. But then giving up First Blood as well, MVP, it's this is going to be so tough for them. Now DDZ is level 2, almost level 3 with an Aegis mid and his bottle and his null, and he's versus Slardar.
Yep. This is a little rough going for poor QO. Down at bottom, the tri-lane has taken shape, so we can see it will be Ryson on the Witch Doctor with the tree there to help support. Heen, once again, going to be back on it, and the Death Prophet will be farming as a core instead of mid. On the offlane, they're going to have the Tidehunter and Arrow. Like, at this point, honestly, they don't even have to do anything but just play. Just play Dota. Hit creeps because they have such an advantage.
Yeah, they actually have to do nothing, because Slardar is going to get...
Look at this.
0 mid. He's going to get 0. There's no way he can do anything versus a Tinker mid. Especially a level almost level 4 Tinker at the 1 minute mark.
That's not a surprise. DDZ playing times on record here in 6.81 and 4-0. If you've seen him play it before, that does
Averaging
not shock anyone.
15 kills per game.
That's a lot, right?
That's quite a lot
That's
right
a
there
lot.
already.
We can actually see, a little bit of a race for the rune. And Ryson complicating matters a bit, so I guess you'll take your bright spots where you can find them. Early on, Tinker leading in CS, 7 for him, 7 for the Mirana. Death Prophet's at 5, and honestly, QO's hanging. He's got 5 for himself, so not the end of the world, but still has to contend with an Aegis. And at some point, DDZ may just dive in whenever he.
Arrow top.
There
They're going on it forever now. Top, and he's gonna go down.
Yep, QO dies, and Forev. So actually, tree's right there, and
nice
power
armor.
of living armor, little ridiculous.
Yeah, really nice armor. And of course, him leveling the Kraken Shell plus having that wrinkle protection instead of the Stout Shield was really, really smart by him. So he survived because of that. But that Tinker getting another kill in mid is just ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit of damage there, no follow-up.
Wow. And, oh man, like, it's just really on MVP to do so much now. They really just need to get kills all over the place, but they don't have the heroes for it. It's just really scary for them. Like, I don't know what MVP can really do. Like, the Witch Doctor's level 1 at this point. Tree is going to be trying to pull, but he was forced to get this living armor level 1 to save his Tidehunter just now. And it's just so terrifying, because now Furon is getting a full 2 waves pushed into him, and he's getting even more levels.
Yep.
He's going to be level 4 on this Furon at almost 3 minutes.
Jeez. I'll tell you what, since the lane seemed kind of quiet at the moment, everyone's playing so very cautiously. And actually the Tinker is maxing out lasers and rockets too, so he's going for a max damage build. Things are kind of quiet for the moment. How about we bring Fear in? Fear's sitting here watching with us. If you're in MVP shoes, like say you're MVP's captain, other than, well, that sucked, what else are you telling your team to hope you can kind of get things under control?
Well, it's really tough for them right now. Like, getting that Roche right there on top of the Tinker and him getting first blood was actually massive. But MVP, all they can do is hope for their mid game at this point, I think. Like, they just need to get their levels, hope they can get some towers, and if they don't get the towers, they're in some trouble.
And Fury ports top, and he just wants to pressure this top tower already.
Not even trying to go for the kill on the Tide. And that's smart. Don't even worry about it. Zone him out, let right clicks do the job, don't blow your load. Instead, just bring down the tower, like we were talking about. Just start collapsing on these tier 1s, and, MVP's not going to have any room at all to get all of these heroes who, they're not super item dependent, but they're like 1 item dependent.
Yeah.
Blink daggers in particular, and levels. And if you can just force rotations like this, bring down early towers. Yep, now they're going to have to rotate a 3rd one in. Maybe they'll get a kill out of it. We can see Muzan moving through the secret shop. No one's pursuing out back into lane. Tide's right on him, and here's going to be QO. He lands the crush. Looks like they're going to get on the board with this, and they will. So a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel there for MVP, but now here comes the rest of Arrow. They're going to catch Tidehunter. Tide runs right into him. Arrow's actually going to be shot wide, and Heen's right there to throw out the leech seed onto Lance. Lance has enough mana for a leap if he needs it. He's hanging on to it for the moment, and they just don't have a lot of damage. Johnny, though, nice bounces, and they're going to get Johnny off of the back of that. So MVP making the best of a bad situation, and not only getting on the board, but making it a 2-for-0 exchange. Well played. They did lose the tier 1 top, though. Yeah,
very good port reactions there, but they did get some kills, but it's really not too much. And oh my god, DDZ just like so aggressive. And that's the beauty of being able to go this laser rocket build instead of having to go March. He's gonna get his bots up at 5 minutes, which is
he's 3-0.
Insane.
It's
absolutely
5
insane.
Minutes, 3-0. He had an Aegis. Still has the Aegis. Hasn't even expired yet. It's gone in 60 seconds.
He's gonna run in suicide for it pretty soon.
May as well. I mean, look at him. He doesn't.
Look, there he goes. There it is.
Yep,
so confident, absolute confidence from him, because he knows his bounds. He knows his bounds. He really does. This player he knows what he can do. He knows the advantages he can press. And yeah, there's no risk in going this laser rocket build at this point because of the amazing start that he has. And he's versus a melee mid, so he can just pressure him so hard. If this Slardar steps up, he's dead.
2-3. Arrow with Tinker up fresh. And Arrow.
Oh, there. Oh, the fog.
Yep, fog might save him as well as the tree armor. Muzan was there. DDZ looking for a laser. He actually, he used vision on him again and got off the amplified damage. It does a surprising amount of damage with the help of the tower shots. So I gotta say, MVP's in a hole, and who knows if they'll have enough time to dig themselves out. They're still doing fairly well, all things considered. A little bit of high ground tower, or counter warding, I should say, for the Witch Doctor. And Arrow has DDZ very low. Now they're going to try to initiate, but Slardar just dies immediately. They managed to make it a 2-for-1 trade, though, and Ryson might be next. Nope, they don't have a magic missile. Thought they would. And Phoenix.
Ryzen's rich. He just got 2 levels from that, and he got, like, what? How much was it? 513 gold? So that was really well needed for the supports there. I mean, they forced the ports reaction top from MVP, so they were a little bit crippled from that. But that gold onto Ryzen was pretty nice. But yeah, looking at the gold graph already,
It's just short of 1,000 gold a minute they've generated in terms of lead.
It's about 4,000 gold total in lead for Arrow at this point. And yeah, look at him just porting it. He's got his bots already. He doesn't have rearm though, so he just got those bots too soon.
March.
Yeah, he's dead.
Not going to be able to run into that Tinker. He's a little too far ahead. Ryson going to be sprouted up on the high ground. DDZ's rearming. Couldn't get the missiles off. No, actually he did. Yep, they're going to track him down and see how much damage. Not enough, but close. So he's sent packing with a little bit of rocket spam up his tailpipe.
This is the luxury Tinker right here.
The luxury
not having to go March at
Pump
all, and just being able to go all over the place. It's beautiful. Like you can just go around and kill people because laser max level at 6 minutes in the game. 320 pure damage. None of these heroes. That's about half of the health on any of these heroes. And yeah, QO, look at that. All of his health almost down in one shot.
Yep.
But Tree Armor saving his life. Fury and ulti bounced through, but I don't even know if it actually ended up clipping him.
Yep. Furon does have his Midas done, so I mean, things just getting worse on the side of MVP as everyone seems to be very, very rich. We can see Death Prophet has been farming well though. She's at 42 overall CS. So again, making the best of a bad situation. Lance is going to be spotted in the secret shop. Heen being a walking ward and keeping an eye on things as best as he can. He's going to continue to farm very aggressively, but that Furion again with that up. Lance being smashed by Forev. And we'll see if they try to do anything about this. But yeah, okay, let's talk about MVP and their Hail Mary that's bound to be coming soon.
Talking engaged on the arrow onto Forev. He did get the armor on, but he did get arrowed and the Starfall. Should be able to clean him up with the Tinker.
And Tinker's going to be there for sure.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like anytime action breaks out, DDZ as aggressive as he is, you can count on lasers and rockets showing up in about 3 seconds every single time.
And something I haven't really seen in a while is Tidehunter went for Tranquil Boots. A little bit strange because, you know, that hero kind of runs in there and everything, but, I mean, the armor is nice for him. He's also got a buckler, so he bought before he died, so it's nice for him, but at the same time, he did die.
Yep.
But he's almost 6. He is almost 6.
Well, the Death Prophet push is going to have to come soon, especially, as you said, with Tide getting close to 6. And they're going to go ahead and use Moonlight Shadow to make sure Johnny stays safe. They might even collapse up here on him. And we could see Johnny...
He denies his own creep.
Yes.
The confidence.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, at this point, even if you die, like, you're going to feel pretty confident the DDZ is going to be able to make up any silly deaths you happen to give up.
And Roche should be respawning within the next 45 seconds or so.
In trouble at top. And... Okay. That's...
Committed the Ravage for him.
Yep. I guess really worried about the leap. And not wanting that to go also. Ravage is going to be on cooldown for at least a little while.
Yeah, no Gush on this Tidehunter still. A little bit strange of a build, but, I mean, they might as well expend the Ravage at this point to just try to get a kill, because they do need to catch up. And at the same time, yeah, Roche is going to be spawning very, very soon, and we do see Venge pick up this medallion very, very early. So they do want to just keep doing these Roches as much as possible. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of Roches in this game if it lasts that long.
She's actually maxed for Vengeance R2, by the way. So the damage output of everyone going to be through the roof. MVP prompting a couple of reactions, hanging around a long time, got the crush off onto Lance as well as the Am, but there's going to be a Sprout. Ryson going to be engaged upon. Here comes Death Prophet with her ulti. Let's see if that's enough to chase him away. Prophet trying to make it away. Lance going to be caught out, though. There's Hand of God to get everyone back up in fighting shape. Lance drops nonetheless. Wrath of Nature doing decent damage. DDZ doesn't have a ton of mana, so he's actually not going to be able to help out a whole lot. And that's about as good as they could have hoped for. Now let's see if they can double back in time to let the Exorcism do some damage. Up only about a quarter time on it, so the tower could potentially, will remain standing now as DDZ's back with a full mana pool as well as a full bottle.
It's only level 1 March, though.
Yep.
So, I mean, it doesn't really do too much damage, so we'll see if they end up deciding to press the issue. And wow,
behind that,
QO is playing really aggressive there.
He has to. Like,
yeah, of course.
This is like the only chance they have is to just take the fight to them. Because if they start trying to play passively now, Arrow's just going to get further and further ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Death Prophet ulti's down now at this point, too. So, Arrow's just going to go back and try to farm their game up, maybe even go for a tower push.
Couple of cooldowns. Should be, Exorcism's not the longest cooldown. It'll be back up before long, but pushing with Ravage and Exorcism and just hoping that Arrow's going to be caught flat-footed, maybe poor positioning or something else is really going to be the key here. But DDZ, every time those cooldowns are up, this is what's going to happen.
Right,
either Roshan,
every time it's up.
Roshan or split push aplenty. I mean, can you imagine trying to spread the map with the lineup that MVP has against the Tinker with bots, against a Nature's Prophet and a well-farmed Shin?
Look at how fast the Roche just dies, too.
Yep.
You can't contest something like that.
Yep.
So every 8 to 11 minutes, it's going to be a free Aegis for them, and plus all the gold, of course.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, MVP is just... They can't really get these early towers, which they really need for this Death Prophet, and he's doing okay. He's got very good... He's got the top CS, of course. His net worth, of course, is also doing pretty decently. He's at 4,000, but it's just not really enough. This hero, he was short lane, so he didn't even get to pressure the tower too much at all. That bottom tower, it is about half health, But they didn't get to take it down early enough because the Furin was just so overleveled. He was able to just bully them, and they ended up forcing so many ports top. The supports weren't able to be there for them.
Like you said, 4K net worth it doesn't sound that bad till you consider the fact that Chen's at 3,500.
Yeah.
And everyone on Arrow is well above that mark. 43 and 43 for Prophet and Marana, as well as DDZ, who is taking an ancient stack and extending his lead even more. Now they're going to push the tier 1 mid. But problem is, I think they're just going to end up with a trade at best. They do fortify their towers to try and protect the tier 1 bottom. Now they're going to go ahead and send down QO. This is the right play. Sprout's there, and he can't get out. Does manage to make it.
So close.
Just by the skin of his teeth in mid, though. Looks like they might try to collapse after this. Tide should have Ravage, and he does. He'll use it to secure their escape. Caught 4 with it, so well played there. March is the one left behind, though, and there's Lance to leap ahead and secure another kill. Overgrowth was used. The rest of MVP has to run, but you can't run from DDZ. The man is on a tear and not done yet. Using March to maybe clean up Heen, but he will be able to skirt just outside of the little robotic pincers or whatever it is that ends up doing that damage. So they do get the tier 1 mid, but unfortunately they're going to end up losing their own and maybe more as they may just keep pushing.
And it looks like Arrows, now they're ready to just be full force. They want to start pushing these towers. They want to start just gaining the full lead that they feel already at this point. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to take this tier 2 mid. They know Ravage is down. They know the spells that are useful for MVP are just down. They don't have Exorcism. They don't have the Ravage, and that's massive. Even though Tidorn did get a very early mech for himself, it's just not going to be enough to really pressure them off too much.
And QO on the bad end of DDZ's Wrath. He rearms. They're all hemmed in. There's going to be a Sprout that catches March, and now down goes the Death Ward. Lance eating a lot of damage from it. However, Hand of God gets their health back up. Lance engaged upon has the Aegis popped off. It looks like the Prophet's going to drop as well. The rest of Arrow has to scatter for the moment. There's a Chin Creep hanging in, and here comes DDZ. He's teleporting into the Chin Creep. Going to come right in and try to do what he can, which is going to be clean up the remainder. And Shen actually got a sin back there. Well played on that. DDZ, though, just continuing to sit back by the side and just go to town. Rocket spam, one last auto attack, makes it a triple kill for the undoubted MVP of this series so far. And, honestly,
man, and Tidorn might get chased out. He's going to TP on the Centaur probably and try to chase him down. I wouldn't blame him. He's got the Blink Dagger. He's got everything up.
And going to try to double back, actually.
Really nice fog spot right there, but I think they know.
Yep, they do. And there's the Rockets.
Rearm.
Getting some help. And here comes the Death Prophet.
DDZ's in a very awkward position right now. He's probably going to end up going down here.
Gets a kill on the way. Mega kill. Ooh, Crypt Swarm just barely missed him. No, the Exorcism Spirits come up a little short. His Blink Dagger's up. Doesn't have enough mana at the moment to teleport away, so he'll just hoof it. Johnny, though, trying to get the Sin back. Prophet will be able to make it away. Moves on throughout the Magic Missile to buy some time. Might end up paying with his life, though. There's an arrow that actually connects on March. Let's see. Yes, beautiful smash coming out of QO. Best smash he's had all game, and this might be a little bit of a coup if they can clean it up and get away. They're all kind of low health, and DDZ is still on the warpath. Let's see if he wants to re-engage QO, though. Bottling himself back up. Looks like he's spoiling for a fight. The rest of them will go ahead and disperse. So, MVP, they lose some, but you know what? They're giving as good as they're getting at this point.
Yeah, and it looks like, honestly, it looks like Arrow's playing too cocky.
Yeah,
they're honestly just running at them at this point because I think they feel just very confident. And I don't really blame them, but I don't think they expect this Slaughter to get his Blink Dagger this early. So very good by QO, and he got a very nice crush there on, I think, 3 heroes, and he ended up cleaning up 2. So very well played by MVP to try to catch up in this game. We do see the tides turn very, very little bit into MVP, but it's still very, very much so in favor of Arrow.
We're at 15 minutes in, hard to believe, with 23 kills on the board. And the item progression is getting so big that it does feel like a slightly later game.
And DDZ is going for the build that he was doing the other day that I saw. He's got this point boosted first item, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be this Bloodstone into Dagon, which he did.
So sick whenever he gets it all rolling the right way. But MVP, like I gotta say, they still have some tier 2 standing. They've taken down 1 tower. Obviously, they're in a very, very bad position, and the game still completely in control of Arrow. But MVP, given their handicaps, I feel like is fighting this out pretty well. They're playing you can't fake desperation, and I think we're seeing that now out of MVP.
Yeah, for sure. Now we do see the Tidorn actually finally pick up his first point of Gush, which I've never seen anyone do, actually. He maxed his Kraken Shell without leveling Gush at all. So at least he has it now. The Mighty Armor is really nice. Of course, the slow is really nice, of course, for the Exorcism. We do see MVP go for a 5-man smoke, and let's see where they end up going for this. They're probably going to just run into the jungle and try to get a pick. And yeah, we do see the line coming out from March.
Desperation smoke. They know they got to do something to get this game at least kind of moving in their favor. Muzan could be the target. Not the best target, but a target's a target, and a kill's a kill. They'll take that with 5 of them. But, that's actually kind of unfortunate. Of all the heroes they could have caught, that's one of the worst.
And now they all have minus damage.
Yep.
Eat the vengeance.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, it's really overlooked still at this point because, it's a very new addition, and we do see Furion picking up his book too, so he's not really farming the best on this Furion after the beautiful, of course, level 1 Rosh and the kill that they have, so it's not too bad, but... Oh man, he actually might get caught out from this aggressive TP that he did, and yeah, QO should be able to clean him up as long as he get a bash. Bash!
Oh, Ravage!
Okay, he didn't get the bashes, so I mean, I guess it's worth spending the Ravage there, but now Arrow might just react and push down the tower because they know this Ravage is down.
Exactly, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to hook up here. That's going to be Lance and Johnny taking the lead for the moment, and down at bottom, DDZ going to split push into that bottom tower. Already has up his Soul Booster, so Bloodstone in the works. And the net worth is actually still south of 5k lead for Arrow. I'm really impressed with how well MVP has held on. It's just a shame the laning phase went as poorly as it did. If they were playing like this and their hole was not nearly as deep, they'd have a much more realistic chance of capitalizing in the mid game. For now, though, they're continuing to hold serve at the very least.
Yeah, and Arrow decided, you know what, that mid tower, even though Ravage is down, that mid tower really sucks to push. Going for those safe lane towers is really what you want because not only are they easier to take, it opens up the whole jungle to you, and you can end up farming it and putting a lot more pressure onto MVP. So this is definitely the right move by Arrow here.
Let's see how committed they are to it. Who's on is their Arrow, barely missed. Heen's back there under Nature's Guys up at top. We're actually going to see the Prophet once again dying.
And I just don't really understand why the Prophet was there. His team was all focusing on
at the
pushing
bottom.
That bottom tower.
They're
Yeah,
re-engaging. There's going to be an Overgrowth Hand of God going to be used. Muzan still eating a lot of damage crushes there to help clean things up. DDZ in the meantime continues to do the work that he does. And he's going to have to go ahead and hustle away. Looks like QO knows where he is. And, yep, manages to get the stun. Now the follow-up crush. Centaur's there.
Back. Is he going to get out? Is he going to live through the Maledict, though? Yeah, he will. It's a low-level Maledict.
And they're not done. They're continuing to chase down Johnny. They end up losing the tree at the end of the fight. So it's going to be a 2-for-3 exchange. Oh, didn't even see where that came from. But well shot, and there'll be a stun on the Johnny. Don't think it's going to be enough. He's going to sprint after him. Just heard him use it. And he's going to try to blind rush it. No, never mind. Turned around at the lip of the river. So once again, MVP continues to hold their ground.
Yeah, it was a very good defense by them there. They didn't have the Ravage there at all, so it was really well played by them. They did a great overgrowth into Death Ward, and yeah, that fight actually went in the favor of MVP
no doubt.
there.
Well,
really well done.
I'm actually a little stunned and really impressed that MVP is able to extend this game. And when you look at the net worth, DDZ obviously at the top and opening up a very large gap. He's nearly double the highest farmed hero on the side of MVP, which BT Dubs happens to be that Tide Hunter. Yeah. But at the same time, everyone else is kind of down there with them. Mirana and Nature's Prophet, not that far ahead. And they do have Slaughter and Death Prophet all in that 6.5k range.
Yeah, I honestly feel like Arrow is they're playing a little bit too cocky.
Yep.
The Furion should have ported bottom with his team there, but instead he ported top to try to defend that tower and just do too much, really. So he was up there and he got caught instead of being bottom and being able to just take down that tower with his team, being together, and just playing as a team instead of, being out of position, which I kind of personally think that was just overcommitting. He was trying to do too much, like I was saying before.
Bringing in our other analyst for a moment, Fear. You've been keeping an eye on the game. How do you feel? You feel like MVP's doing as good a job as it seems to be, keeping this game extended? What do you think the chances are looking ahead?
I mean, they're still really far behind right now. Like, if they're going to win this game, they have to take a few more huge team fights, because they don't really have the best late game here. So they're still definitely on the back foot.
Yeah.
Looks like they tried to make something happen at top, but came up missing. DDZ just continuing, though, to farm out every single lane.
Yeah, and that's what he's had so much space on this map, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna go for that Dagon build again, because why else would you go with this Bloodstone? You can just spam so much, you can just rearm, you can get your rearm at 16, it's not greedy at this point once you have the Bloodstone, because you have that regen, just to be able to keep you back coming into those team fights.
Arrow, just continuing, and it looks like they're taking a page from your playbook, Fog. Looks like they are settling down some, and not just rushing lanes to rush lanes. They're playing a little bit more elusively. DDZ not going to be pursued out. They get the silence on the 2. Lance and DDZ being chased, and they're going to go ahead and use Exorcism. And that's probably just going to be to zone and to guarantee a death on that tower. That tower, honestly, don't think they really needed to use it there. And they might even be engaged upon if they hang around too long. Tier 1 does drop. Let's see if they want to bring in the Prophet. Nope, he's still just hanging around the bottom. Also, has enough for a book 3, just hasn't bought it yet.
Yeah, and he's hiding now, and maybe QO will have the sense to spot him out, but no, it's not going to happen. And Furion's just going to TP back to base, pick up his book 3, and they're probably going to start sticking together a bit more, because they're probably going to know that this Roshan is spawning, if he's not spawned already, which he is, so.
Yep, QO has an illusion on it for the moment. But, like you said, Basically, that Roshan melts so quickly that unless MVP anticipates it, as soon as arrow goes in, they're basically on a 15 to 10 second timer to get into the pit and actually contest it.
Yeah, we do see Tidehunter actually going for a pipe here, which, I mean, of course it blocks some of the march, but I feel like he needs something to initiate on them. I feel like he needs either like a Force Staff or a Blink, or maybe even just like going for the Shivas and just running in and using it, but if he decides to go for the pipe and mech, it's fine, absolutely, because he's going to try to keep his Death Prophet alive.
Well, the issue I think that is what's going to end up being a problem, as well as MVP is playing, if they continue to just hold the map static as it is right now, they're just still lacking that late game core you really want. Like, Slarder does not scale all that well with items, especially in comparison to heroes like a Mirana. As long as it takes her to get online, she can be effective when she's 5 or 6 slotted. Tinker, who without a doubt turns into a carry once he ends up with 3-4 big items, once it gets up a Hex, a Dagon, whatever else you want. And of course, Prophet, who almost always ends up going Pure Glass Cannon following a book pickup. So they're still on a timer. Like, they're doing a great job of holding the map static, but they put that puzzle together. Now they have to go on to the next one, which is, okay, now how do we get aggressive and how do we put the pressure on them?
And I don't really see how they can, because Arrow are going to be doing Roshan's constantly, and there's nothing MVP can do. If they run into that Rosh pit, it's absolute suicide for them. And yeah, we see Tide starts running in, but that's a complete suicide maneuver there. And they do end up using Mirana ulti on there for Arrow.
Completely forgot that this is 22 minutes. That was the third Roshan, by the way. So they have Cheese as well.
The beauty of that level 1 Roshan.
Yep, no joke. Cheese picked up on the Prophet that time. Makes sense. He's been having some health issues of late. Has ended up dying a few more times than I'm sure he would have liked to. But DDZ, just the man's a monster. And
doing what he does. And he's got his Dagon. He's got his
go.
level 16, and he does skill the rearm right away, which I figured he would.
Well, we can see that MVP's kind of sucked back now. They know those tier 2s really are their lifeblood. Those have to stay up. If they end up losing any more map control, if that jungle ends up opened up, or at worst they just end up with a tier 3 that can be pushed, Arrow has the potential to do that. Fear, back to you, my friend, as we see not a lot of action taking place and teams settling down. If you're MVP's captain, what's the game plan?
Well, basically for them right now, they're definitely on the back foot now. They need to find a pick off on DDZ, especially seeing that he does have this Bloodstone though, so it's going to be very hard for him to kill him and still make a push. So what MVP really needs to do is they need to get their lanes pushed out, and then they need to get that tier 1 bottom right now, as soon as they possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so difficult though versus DDZ. He knows how to play this Tinker. He's not gonna let them push these towers. He's gonna just be split pushing everything all over the map, and that's him all alone. And now, okay, sure, why not? Let's throw a Furion in there as well. He still hasn't even been spamming his ultimate the whole time. Now he finally used it to just keep pressure all over the lanes and his book 3. So these towers are gonna just start getting pushed in, even though there is a tree. And now we do see the glyph coming out, so they're probably gonna commit for the tower once the glyph is used.
They can't even push the lanes out. Like, look at bottom. They're trying to push that out so this doesn't happen there. Look at QO just being melted down. And he's just going to rearm, and yeah, they're sending in a lot of troops. He needs to get out of there as quickly as he possibly can, but making it a very hot LZ with all of those marching the machines. But yeah, bottom is still pushing towards the tower. And it's just getting to a point where they're getting overrun. They're literally getting brute forced out of this.
Yeah, and if the reason I don't really enjoy this build through the Tidehunter as well is because he has a 546 mana pool. We do see Lance did start to get engaged on, but QO decided to back up. But the Tidehunter just only has 546 mana pool. He does have a stick, of course, and a bottle, but Pipe is 100 mana, Mech is another 150, Ravage is 225. If he gets hit by this Necro Book and the guy uses the Necro Book mana burn, he can't Ravage. He can't use any spells after it either. He has to really watch out the way he uses mana in the team fights, if there even is a team fight at this point. Because, by the way, it looks like Arrow's just going to completely split them up.
There's going to be a cask. And DDZ still doing good damage. March is actually going to run into the March. There's a Death Ward to try and force DDZ back, but just kind of shrugging it off at this point. QO trying to get the angle on him. He's going to be re-engaged upon, so ends up using his Bloodstone to suicide and make sure he pops back up quickly. Just a 30-second cooldown. And the rest of his team not committing to come help. So a little bit, again, cocky play.
Yeah, very cocky there. I'm not sure really what streak he was on, but that suicide was definitely very, 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 very good because he saw 4 people running at him bottom, and he's like, what? They just committed so much, they ported a bunch of heroes down here. I'm just going to suicide, and then they can split push the other lanes. And yeah, we do see Lance taking advantage of that right away and pressuring that mid tower.
Yeah, this is basically a game of tower defense, and that's going to be an arrow that connects on March. No follow-up. though. Yep, there's going to be but tree armor there to help out in case there was some kind of follow.
And Venge ends up dying because he was playing a little bit out of position. He was playing too far up. And now, oh man, DDZ might get caught out here as well. He ported in very aggressively, and yeah, he's going to get taken down.
That's big. 844 gold ends up going to Slarder.
Needs. Yep. 100%. That's really what they need, but it's it's still not enough, really. They need to get more.
It's a nice first step, but there's still
absolutely.
a big ass staircase they have to climb up.
Absolutely, because we do look at the gold gain, and Arrow is just well over the 10,000 gold lead part.
Yep.
Now it actually dropped down a bit. It's about 9,000, but either way, that's still a very good gold lead, and they do have the late game and the split push potential on all their heroes.
It's even though they are undoubtedly in the worst, in a very, very bad position, I'm still impressed at how well they managed to keep it together.
Yeah, MVP is doing very well. They actually just got the kill score lead there as well. It's 17-15 now. The Slardar picks up he's got his Blink, he's got his BKB online as well, so he's got what he really needs as right now, and Death Prophet is getting quite tanky at this point. He is squishy based off his armor, but he's got 3,000 gold, he's got a Vitality booster, he's got his mobility items with the Phase Yule's Drum, so he's going to be able to run around and just be able to do a lot in these team fights as long as he doesn't get locked down.
DDZ continuing to be an absolute pest as he keeps these lanes shoved. The Prophet there to try and help keep things under control, but eats a lot of damage. Only 3 charges on his Bloodstone now after suiciding and then dying almost immediately afterwards. And yeah, I mean, the fact that there are 2 Tier 2 still standing for MVP in the face of how good of a start DDZ had on Tinker, as well as the Nature's Prophet having his Midas as quickly as he did, again, I think that's really impressive. But the problem is, like we've said 100 times, holding serve just isn't good enough. Like, they have a lineup that has to execute sooner rather than later. The later the game goes, the more comfortable Arrow's going to be anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And I was actually really shocked in the fact that they gave the Potom the Aegis instead of the Tinker. I guess he was just so confident in the fact that he wasn't going to be getting picked off, but it's really difficult to actually play this Tinker versus Treant. If the Treant is smart, and he seems like he's been doing a really good job, he's at level 3 Nature's Guys, he's just running around Invis this whole time, just setting up where the Tinker's going to be porting. And they just like set up with that, and that's how they got the kill on him at bottom. They made him pop his Bloodstone, and then they go set up on him mid, which was of course DDC's fault because he just really ported in very, very aggressively. And looking on that far left side, actually, they have a ward on the cliff. So MVP is watching out for
That's
DDC.
actually hilarious.
Because he has been over there constantly. He's been blinking over there and just spamming the marches. So very nice ward there by them.
For the moment, everything remains quiet. We actually saw an attempted smoke out of MVP. They were trying to anticipate movement out of Arrow, but no one was home. Everyone on the side of Arrow, instead just farming safely in their own jungle or elsewhere. Roche should be back up in just a few minutes as the Aegis was reclaimed just moments ago. And yep, it'll be back up in about, call it a minute and 50 seconds.
Yeah, almost 2 minutes, just about. But yeah, I mean, Arrow also does have very aggressive wards down into MVP side, so they do see that, they do have the cliff ward up on that Radiant side, so they do see if MVP's farming that, so they're going to be able to just know where they are for the most part. This tree just really needs to play phenomenal and be set up for where the Tinker's going to go in order to get the pickoffs that they need. But it's still, like we were saying before, it's going to be extremely difficult because MVP's late game does not really match up to Arrow's.
For the moment, still quiet and would bring in fear, but I think we've analyzed this game to death.
Yeah, I think so too.
How about random thought of the day? Give me a random thought here, Fear.
March sucks.
Wow.
Could have given me anything, dude. Could have given me anything. That's what we did.
No, it's just, I don't know. This game is really interesting. For me, I'm just like really impressed. I love watching Tinker being played. And like the start he had, it's just really impressive. Like what DDC is in this game for me.
Yeah. He's really just...
Chain feed he did twice.
Of course. Yeah, of course. But if you look around, his team is farming the woods. They're farming the Ancients, and DDZ is pressuring all 3 lanes.
Oh, yeah.
Plus the Furon ulti, of course.
Yep.
But I haven't really seen this Furon be porting to lanes and just farming super aggressively too much, because he's really scared of this tree. And that's the power of the tree with the level 3 or level 4 invis.
Yep. This is actually one of those cases where... we talked extensively during the draft. Tree either gives you a little, tree either gives you a lot or gives you nothing. He actually has been of relative utility because of just his ability to keep an eye on things. And even though MVP lost a ton of ground early, they really have kept that hole from sinking any deeper.
Yeah, for sure. Even though this, of course, you look at the net worth. Tree's at 2,800 net worth. You're like, wow, he's doing terrible, garbage, blah blah blah. But no, he's making a lot of space on the map. He's just scouting around, and it makes a big deal. It really does. And he did get that ward up on that cliff, which scouts out DDZ up on the side. But now, I mean, they're just going to get split up, and what's going to end up happening is Arrow's just going to farm. They don't mind taking this to a farming game. They know what the game's going to be like.
Yep.
The only benefit for this for MVP is if they get absolutely massive on their heroes. Like if this Death Prophet ends up having a Shivas and just full slotted plus a Slardar with full slots, they have a chance at this because Slardar max slotted or with a lot of items is very good versus bottom and Furon. And yeah, That really hurts. Chen just bought a full book 3 in one
Yep,
shot. So
in
now
one shot.
maybe they'll trying to go for a push at this point and trying to seal the issue, unless they just go for the Roshan and then go for it, which is probably the likely scenario.
Yeah, Roche is back up. They are grouping at bottom, trying to
Lance-
make something happen.
Lance still has that cheese, so
Yep.
it's going to be 2 cheese stock. But no, they want to defend this tower. They don't want to lose one, I don't think, here.
March picked up his hard, by the way, so he's going to be a little tougher to bring down. That's really the big concern we had, too, was could March get the start he needed to feel tanky enough to really hang around the fights the way you want to with the Death Prophet. And
Yeah.
that's been done. They're going to go and check the Roche pit.
Well, they're going to go do it themselves, maybe. They can kill it very, very quickly with the Gush and Prophet ulti, so I don't
smart.
think Arrow can really contest that at all, because it's going to melt. It's absolutely just going to melt.
It is down already. So look at this. MVP.
Doing what they can.
Dude, they're not just doing what they can, doing well. Like doing what they have to do and what they need to do. And books are awesome, and they're going to be able to push here, but like the exchange here is nil. Basically, MVP did nothing but take a free Roshan and make it back in plenty of time to keep everything safe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Arrow got like 300 damage on that top tower, but thinking about it, you're versus a tree. The tree can heal that up,
Yep.
and you really didn't do too much there in that whole time that they were doing that. So a little bit strange by Arrow not really expecting that, and
Uh-oh.
it's looking not too bad.
Johnny in trouble at top.
Uh-oh.
He's got a little bit of help, but will it be enough? BKB is going to be deployed. There's going to be the mech used. Johnny should end up dropping here. Nope, Hand of God
Nice
deployed.
play.
So they end up feeding the Aegis just about as quickly as they get it. And they've got a lot of personnel there. Let's see. On both sides, they could have re-engaged. However, at bottom, we already see the split pushes on as Prophet has made his way down, has his treants, and is actually under cover of Mirana's ulti. They're going to spot this and have to get there. And yeah, at this point, I think there's no reason for them not to just do what they had been doing. I mean, like you said, their MVP has heroes that can just be beasts if they're 6-slotted, but the problem is Arrow's going to get there so much quicker.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem. And also, a 6-slotted Tinker is absolutely terrifying. We do see Slaughter actually go for an armlet, so he's going for a semi-mid-game build with that armlet, which I guess he kind of has to, because he just has to find picks all over the place, try to snowball as best as he can, and just get tons of kills at this point and just completely take over the game. But we haven't seen a single kill in... It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, it's been 17 to 15
What's it
for at
been?
least 5-6 minutes, if not
Man, it's
longer.
been almost 8 minutes, actually, that
Yeah.
there's been a kill on the board. I mean, there's been kills, but of course the Aegis and everything is not really allowing it to be a real
Yeah.
kill. And we do see... maybe DDZ will get caught out here.
He's silenced. No, the silence actually is off the mark. Mistimed it. There's going to be a gush. He will be slowed. Can just try to TP in their face. Ravage is going to be spent to bring him down, and he does end up suiciding, though. So that's he's down to just 2 charges on that Bloodstone, and that item choice not seeming quite as good as it could have been.
And this seems... I mean...
It's taking a turn, slowly but surely.
It is, it really is, and Lance isn't really doing too much on this bottom. Yeah, he's farming, but he went for all these defensive items. He's got this Lincoln's, and then he went BKB, 10 charges, and now he's going for a Mithril Hammer, so he's going to start pulling out some damage soon, but they're not really... I don't really see Arrow doing too much, but just farming. So, I mean, if MVP keeps doing what they're doing, getting pickoffs all over the place, this could actually end up being their game, and Arrow just off the mark on March. And yeah, March is just popping his ult, and he's like, I want this tower.
Oh, behind that, Johnny's actually spotted by QO as well, and Johnny got swapped. Doesn't matter, though, he ends up dead anyway. Now, there's not going to be a Ravage if they do decide to engage in force. Good crush, though, and Muzone's next on the list. And we see Lance actually has to leap away. This is going to be a tier 2. Likely, they're going to lose their tier 2 at bottom, but they actually have help on the way. It's just a tree, though. And he can do nothing but just kind of hang around and keep an eye on things, as it will be a full trade, except with the kills favoring MVP.
Just Fearon needs to be careful, though. I mean, if someone puts down there, but no, they're not going to in time. But he did stop the Fearon TP, and yeah, we do see Ryzen getting engaged on top, but he looks like he's going to get away, and he pops a smoke for some reason.
Panic smoke.
It happens.
There's the Prophet, though, and yeah, that's a Dagon.
And that's a gem on the floor.
That's a big
deal.
Dagon, by the way. That's Dagon
That's a
4 or
Dagon.
5.
Yeah, that's a Dagon 4. So yeah, DDZ is very farm. Of course, we look at it, he's got 21,000 net worth, but MVP is doing a great job at just splitting the game up and just trying to find picks all over the place, and they're finding them. DDZ's Bloodstone's only at 4 charges, and he just got a kill off of it.
Yep, it was at 2 before that. Ty did finish his Shivas amidst all of that action, by the way. There's the Dagon 5 upgrade. And for the Death Prophet, I mean, at some point soon, you would imagine she'll want to get a refresher. So we'll keep an eye on that. But for now, she's getting tanky. I mean, hell, she's got 2,500 HP. Look at that. I mean, that was a lot of damage output. Still just took her down about a third.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's got a plate mail, so maybe he's going to go for this AC and then going into these other builds just to make him super tanky so they can't do any physical damage. But,
Yeah.
I mean, Potom isn't really doing... I don't even think I've seen him really do much, actually. I don't think I've seen him right-click anybody for the most part. in this
Not
game.
hardly. He hasn't even hit that many arrows, if we're honest. He's hit the few he's hit have been good.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, we just haven't seen him all that involved.
Yeah, for sure. And this Tidehunter is doing very, very well for himself. I mean, he's very farmed on him.
Right there with the Potom. He's
Yeah,
like
he's
right
right
there.
They're just, MVP's just doing a great job, and we do see maybe DZ get engaged on bottom. He's playing very, very aggressive with trees on him, and they do use the Sprout.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And
Dust for him.
that's a
Wow,
lot of
QO
damage, though.
getting blown up.
QO
Cheese
pops the
used.
BKB, and he's going to end up killing the tree off for sure. Like you said, cheese use. Oh, DDZ bought just enough time to suicide himself, and he is living on the edge. And now they're going to try to pursue out the Prophet. Prophet, though, with that haste rune, caught out and hit with the amplified damage. He's going to sprout himself in and try to TP away. Crush gets him through the trees, though. And the damage output, more than enough. Tides there. Kill secured as he gushes down. The Prophet, however, at top. Arrow reacting appropriately, just forcing things elsewhere. There's an arrow that catches Rice, and he's going to end up dead. Nope. Nah, yeah, he will. It was very close, but does end up dropping. Tree buys back in the meantime. Tinker and Prophet are both down. Tinker, even though he suicided, still can't get involved, but QO is there to try and stem this wave of creeps. They've still got the Necro creeps banging away. And yeah, he's actually going to be able to get it just fine. And March, in the meantime, clears out the last remaining Tier 1 on the board.
Yeah, and they do get the top tower, though, and they almost get like half damage up on that melee rack. So not too bad for Arrow. I actually think that DDZ, well, I think he was going to live there. He popped the Bloodstone really preemptively. Yep. The Sprout was on him, and it is a level 2 Sprout. So I think if he just rearmed it, he could have blinked out right away, afterwards.
Would have been close.
I mean, it's a heat of the moment, so I don't think it's a bad use of the Bloodstone because he doesn't want to give any streaks or any kills to anybody. But I'm pretty sure he could have lived there.
DDZ, I mean, he's known for being a cocky player, but I honestly feel like him dying and having to suicide as much as he had has cost his team a lot of momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. This game is not, it's slowly,
it's in reach.
Very, very slowly going into MVP's hands. It's going to be extremely difficult for them, but they might be able to do it. If Arrow just keeps getting caught out of position, if they don't just chill out and just split push and just do what their lineup is there for, they could end up losing this game.
And that Slarter is taken up heavy. He's got the armlet, just picked up a Reaver in the meantime. And we'll see what he wants to turn that into. Likely another Heart, one would imagine. And Lance with a Desolator, finally, is doing a fair amount of damage. Still has that cheese, by the way. Still been just hanging on to it. It's aged cheese at this point.
It's aged. Nice, I like that.
Do what it can.
But yeah, I mean, Tinker decides he's not going to even go for this for the Sheep next. He's going to just go for the Ethereal Blade. So he's just going to go to try to blow people up, which... a little bit risky at the same time as anything, but I guess it's what he wants to do. He just wants to kill people. So, can't really blame him for that, because it's very, very fun just ethereal blading and dagging 5 people. Can't blame him.
Well, it's what he does. I mean, it's his play style.
It's a little bit strange, though, because this is the TI, this is TI4 qualifiers. They should be taking this very, very seriously, and I feel like Arrow is kind of just, they're taking it seriously, but it looks like they're not taking it as seriously as they should be.
Yeah. I feel like they're still up. Hang on, Arrow. Engage upon, uses that aged cheese. Now BKBs are up on both sides. Moonlight Shadow will be deployed. The dust goes off, but now Tide, left by himself, will spin the Ravage, but doesn't do a whole lot. Johnny caught in the back of it. Can they clean him up before he can do anything? Yes, he ends up dropping and March on a dominating streak. That's 2 down. They lost Lance and the Chen. Amidst all of that, however, Arrow has the split push on at bottom. They got to make up their mind. Who are they sending home and who are they pushing with? That Tier 2 is an exposed target. No Ravage on the Tide. And, the Prophet's just going to go ahead and bail out. I think he probably could have harried that Tide a bit, but Tier 2 mid. Now the target, DDZ's there, using some rocket spam and marching the machines to try to zone them out. Exorcism does end up expiring, though, so no other towers brought down amidst all of that. But once again, MVP continues to build on this momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I agree with you that the Fury could probably press this shoe bottom a little bit, but you have to be super careful versus this tree. He's just invisible the whole time, just running around. And yeah, it's been about the same for a while now, but
it's like 30 minutes. It's been about this big.
Yeah, 9,000 net worth in the lead of Arrow, but they're just giving up lots of kills, and the items are starting to really build up onto MVP. This Slaughter is going to have either a Heart or Satanic very, very soon. Death Prophet's got his AC Heart, Yule's Phase Drum, so he could even go for his own Sheepstick pretty soon, and that's really, really devastating if he does get that. He can go solo kill people at one point.
Fear, what do you think, man? We're beginning to see. I mean, there's no doubt about it. MVP is tanking up so much, and we could see even the Tidehunter's not scared of DDZ now.
Yeah, I feel like right now they're losing... Oh, no, he does not have Ravage up, so he's not going to catch it. But I feel like right now, like, the choices on items have been really peculiar for Arrow. I feel like they had such a lead, they could have built more aggressive items and went to end this game. But going into the Bloodstone, going to Lincoln's PK in particular on the Mirana has really hurt them. I feel like they have no items to really breach the high ground when they had an advantage. So now MVP's finding some openings and getting some picks, which is getting back in this game. They have a long way to go still, but at this rate, if they keep doing this and they keep making mistakes on Arrow, if you look at the Tinker's Blood Bloodstone charges, it's getting really low, so it's becoming quite irrelevant an item, in my opinion. I'm not the hugest fan of Bloodstone in particular on Tinker, because if you get that early Hex, you can just push advantage, especially on the Mirana. If you get that early Death, so you can start pushing the base. I feel like the item choice on arrows is really prolonging this game.
Yep, the Bloodstone has been at less than 4 charges for about 20 minutes now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not really too sure what Arrow's trying to do. I mean, they're just... I looked like they were kind of like joking around at one point.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh god, this is blowing up in our face. We got to just take this seriously. And now they're trying to like split up and farm. This Furin went for a BKB, and they just don't want to get caught out. They're just really scared. They definitely don't want to lose this game, and they're playing more and more patiently now at this point. And we do see a pot of multi coming out.
And we saw right there, while the gold lead remains in favor of Arrow, the experience is dead even, literally right on that 0 line for the first time since before the creep spawned and that level 1 Roshan dropped. So they've made up a lot of ground, at least in that regard. Still some ground to be made up, but they're just so tanky, man. Like, every time that they're engaged upon now, it's not even that they're doing that much damage, it's just that Arrow can't do enough damage, really. It's kind of becoming the issue.
And I think that's really what comes down to the item choices, like Fear was saying before. I mean, this Potom just... Yeah, he got the Desolator now, but he doesn't really do too much damage.
But see, look at that.
He gets sent back there, at least. So they did bait out a Death Ward there.
But even, just think about what happened, though. Like, a Tinker that was as far ahead as he was just blew everything he had. And yes, it did a fair amount of damage. Hang on, we're going to have a Hex onto Forev, and DDZ's there to try and help out. Oh, if he can clean it up one more time, Ravage is going to be used. That might be enough to get him away, but it did cost Ravage.
That's a defensive Ravage. That's a big deal.
Yep. The fact that, I mean, that's kind of what we've been expecting to see. And he found a squishy, and he made him squishy.
Yeah, and now Arrow gets the opportunity to go for that Roshan, because now Ravage is down. They got to pick off as well, and now this Arrow looks like they're really starting to pick it back up. They're starting to take it more.
This is what they should have been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just really comes down to what you were saying. The item choices just were very, very strange. I mean, yeah, DDZ has shown that he really loves this Bloodstone, which I don't think was that much of a problem at all. I think it was more so the way that they were playing.
The play style
up,
after the Bloodstone.
Yeah, and this Potom going for the super defensive build rather than being aggressive after they got a level 1 Rosh. You're looking at this game, and if you really think about it, you're like, there wasn't a level 1 Rosh. Like, MVP's playing super well, and they were coming back, but now at this point, Arrow's just going to probably barrel down and just try to go for a tower push at this point, because they know Ravage is down.
There's that hard up on Slarter. Ravage is down, but not for too much longer. I mean, a fair amount of time has passed, and they're not even near the tier 3s at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, about a minute and a half. So if Forev can hold on, keep himself alive, and keep these towers standing a little bit longer, once that's out, he's actually got an Oblivion staff, so he's on his way to a refresher with 1,600 gold already allocated to it, aside from everything. You think Arrow has the firepower here?
I still think that they do, honestly. As long as they don't play too good. Forev getting gaved on bottom. He does not have his Ravage up, and he's going to get blown up by these Daggons and these...
It's taking so much. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, oh, finally they're able to track him down. DDZ.
Not quite enough.
Yep. And he was so tanky, but it took so much. There's the Death Ward, and DDZ's eating a lot of damage.
No reveal.
Yep.
Oh, the arrow catches on Ryzen, too. They're going to re-engage on this.
Yep. And Ryzen... still alive behind this fight. Really kind of a scramble moment.
You know DDZ wants to go in on that so badly. But top being pushed in by the Furin right now, too. So they're getting split up on MVP right now.
And he did pick up a Maelstrom in the meantime. So he is a little bit better there. He's going to go ahead and run forward. Not going to matter. As he will be Yules. Does that?
Yeah, deep purges off the Sentinel.
I did not know that. Interesting to know. When there's a Yules on the map, don't try to be cheeky with the Sinbag. He's going to use his BKB, though. And there's going to be an arrow. DDZ's doing good damage from the height. Yep, overgrowth timed as well as it could have been, and they end up losing one. So March, on a mega kill streak of his own, Prophet's down for 70 seconds. And this game, against all odds and logic, continues to not just go on, but continues to seem to be within striking distance of MVP Phoenix.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tinker's going to be getting he should be getting his sheep stick pretty soon. He got a couple more charges now. Oh, he bought it. Is that a new bottle he just bought, or did he just swap that back in? I didn't see it before.
Sure.
I think he just bought that new bottle. Pretty sure. But, I mean, it's really good to be teleporting back and just constantly be using that bottle to get the regen. But I'm assuming he's going to go for the sheep. The supports on MVP are very, very crippled, but the cores are starting to get very farmed.
Yep.
This, what you were saying before, this Tide's going to have a refresher soon, but he does decide to go up back, and he might be going for a BKB on the Tide.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does.
The net worth is actually getting kind of huge across the board. We're just about to the point where we're going to have potentially... honestly, if this game goes another 10 minutes, we're going to have at least 5 heroes that have 20k net worth, if not more, depending on if the Tide can catch up. And I doubt Shin's going to stay on the pace he's on. Shin has 13k net worth, by the way. which is kind of nuts in and of itself. But MVP just continuing to stem the tide of Arrow.
Yeah, Arrow they really just didn't take advantage of the lead that they had at one point, and now it's ending up being, it's a little bit scary for them. They have to take it a lot more seriously, and they just have to get their items up on their heroes, get their damage up on their Potom, and then set up for it. And yeah, it looks like Potom's going to end up setting up for the B-Fly, so he's going to set up for this late game for sure.
And yeah, there's a Hex out now on March. That in and of itself, a pretty big item.
Yeah.
And being able to deal with these heroes, especially the Tinker, who's gone just pure pub build, basically. He doesn't have a defensive item like a Lincoln's, like a BKB. Double damage, as you can see, our awesome observer pointing out in the river. And those things, it's amazing. Like, double damage is so valuable early. Then it's just like, yeah, if you get one, it's nice. You get down to the super late game, double damage runes win games, dude.
Yeah, they really do. But we don't see any bottles being grabbed up by MVP, so they're not going to bottle up that rune or anything. They have no idea it's even there, and they have a really hard time getting out of their base. If we look at the map right now, if you look, just MVP has one ward up above their top towers, and it's not really doing too much. Like, it just sees a little bit, but they have no other vision, so they're getting completely outfarmed at this point by Arrow. Still, like we've been saying, we do see a smoke coming out for MVP, and they might go for DDZ here if they do see where he is.
They're thinking about it, trying to bait him. He is going to be able to bots out. So, QO.
Oh, Johnny getting gone on right now, bottom.
Oh.
Venge is there, though, too.
Yep, there's going to be a Force Staff as well, and Johnny trying to make it away. He's going to be caught with the Shivas and the Gush, and he's going to be killed off. DDZ's in range, but again, the influence he's been... Oh, wow! DDZ just utterly obliterating that poor Witch Doctor. Problem is, everyone else is a bit more tanky, and they went ahead and spin the Ravage. He's now down for 71 seconds, and the Death Prophet ult deployed as well. In the meantime, we actually see the Prophet was split pushing. He's going to BKB and try to teleport in his face, and we'll be able to make it away.
No bottom now. They're going to keep going. It looks like Slaughter's going to blow them all up. That Potom needs to get the hell out of there.
Yep. He needs a Butterfly right now. And he's got the Eagle Song up. He's actually not all that far away from him, about 800 gold. But he's, we're getting to the stage in the game where these teams, even Arrow, needs to start worrying about things like buyback. Like, when you look at the towers, that top lane still has 2 racks standing. Still has 2.
And, I mean, sure, DDZ killed the Witch Doctor there, but...
Big deal.
It's a Witch Doctor. Yeah. You're giving your own life for it. If we look at the gold graph now, it's starting to dip toward MVP. And honestly, if this, like Fear was saying before, if this keeps going like this, MVP is going to win this game for sure. We do see Tidehunter. He has another 3,500 gold on him as well. He's got an Odal Club. He can either go for the BKB or he can finish up his own Refresher really, really soon.
Fear, thoughts on what we're seeing play out in front of us?
I mean, I don't want to be a flame or anything, but Arrow, like, their
but you're gonna.
choices, I don't want to be, but I'm gonna be. Arrow right now, I felt like they lost a huge window here. Like, this game was blown open from, like, the minute 1 to 2 minute mark, especially when they got that first split on Tinker. And now I feel like they're just kind of playing this like a pub. Like, literally just playing this like it's a pub, and they're just building, like, weird items, taking extremely weird engagements, being overly confident. Like, this is like the fourth or fifth time I've seen DDZ just get picked out, going for a solo kill engagement and just dying after getting 1 kill. That's something you can't do as Tinker. Like, that's a hero that has way too much farm, way too many levels. If you die way too many times, you're giving so much up. Especially if you're just getting a support kill for it.
He's actually just about level 25. Like, he's right there.
Yeah, looking at the lanes too. Look, now it's starting to, MVP's starting to get their lanes out a little bit more because they're starting to have the presence. I mean, the tree's running around. He's getting a little bit of wards out for his team, and he's just running around with his Nature's guys. So DZ needs to play very careful because he just died. I don't even know how many times in a row because of all this. He's just been going for all these like solo kills on like Witch Doctors and heroes that aren't too important. So very, very crazy play by him. And now he does end up picking up a BKB for himself. He does get his defensive item on that Tinker.
Desperately
I think
needed.
Is very, very needed. But
Desperately.
He ports bottom.
Ooh. Oh, he better hope.
They know where he blinked, though.
Yep, he better hope. And he actually rearmed just in time to blink again. He's going to do it one more time. And he's actually going to do damage while he can.
And he's out of there.
Makes it away.
That was very, very close, though. That was such a risky port.
Did have the BKB, though.
Yeah, for sure.
So that could have gotten him out of trouble, but certainly don't want to spend a 10-second charge just because you teleport the wrong place right after you buy the damn thing.
Yeah.
MVP, ready to take a run at the tower. DDZ's there, and they're going to go ahead and use Exorcism. That's a level 3 Exorcism, and that tower is going to mount ridiculously fast. They're going to use their glyph. They're not really in a position to try to counter-engage, though. They're slowly rotating help in. It's the Nature's Prophet who is elsewhere. He's out in top lane at the moment. And yeah, they take the tower completely unchallenged. And he's been trying to do this all game. They're going to get back in time to deal with this. Like, those racks are just still in great shape because of the Treant Protector.
Yeah, it looks like MVP's starting to feel really, really good about this game.
Yeah, they should. They have played this so well. I mean, yes, there were mistakes were made early, and they found themselves in a very deep hole. Like, at one point, it was like 12, 13 minutes, and they were just about 10K behind.
Yep.
But the thing is, not only, like, it's basically they've been in the same debt or the same hole for the last 50 minutes.
Ty just bought a heart.
Yeah.
He sold his Oblivion staff. He sold his Ogre Axe. And he's like, you know what? Whatever. Just spending a heart. I don't know how I really feel about that one, but I mean, he's tanky now. He's not going to die to Tinker. That's for damn sure.
Yep. Well, I think that's what they figured out. It's like, well, Tinker's doing pretty much all their damage, so if we can just survive his burst and then catch him afterwards with a Hex or whatever else, then he's not really that big a problem anymore. I mean, he's died 6 times. He's 16-6, granted, so he's staying right on par with his kill count, but his impact has been severely diminished over the last 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, MVP has an XP lead. I mean, it's not the biggest deal at this point, but
No,
they do
that is a
now
big
have an
deal,
XP lead.
given how deep behind they were in that as well as gold. The fact that they caught up and now lead, that is a big deal.
Yeah. The gold is still, of course, in favor of Arrow, but honestly, this looks like MVP's game at this point. If this just keeps going on, like we've been saying, it just really looks like they're just going to be able to take control of this. March is extremely farmed. He's got bots as well now on top of everything. He can sell his phase boots pretty soon, and I don't even know what item he'd go for next.
Fear, thoughts on that?
Right now, I think it's going to be very hard for MVP to actually break Arrow's base unless
Yeah.
they get a pick on Tinker.
For sure.
So I still think Arrow is in a good shape here, unless DDC makes a couple more crucial mistakes. If he's able to die, get the rebuy off of him, get a kill again, then I think MVP has the opening to break the base. But they have so much farm on this Tinker right now. He can just spam marches. It's going to be very hard to break the base unless they keep getting more HP items. They, like you said, they did pick up the heart on the Tidehunter. They already have one on DP. So if they're able to get hearts on, I don't know what the starter has as far as items, but if he's able to get tanked up and get a heart itself, then they might be able to break the base. He does have one, so they have 3 hearts right now. So actually, they do have the ability to push the base right now. So I think this is the window. They could wait for the next Roche, but within the next 5 to 10 minutes, I think this is MVP's opening to win this game.
Yeah, and it does look like Slaughter, he's getting an MKB as well. So he knows that Potom has the butterfly, and yeah, of course, Laser is very, very good versus it as well.
I'm going to go in, catches Lance. Lance will have be hexed, and the Lincoln's popped, but still kept safe. Arrow loses another tower. And as of
Johnny
right now,
might be getting engaged on right
yep,
here.
they're just about dead even on towers. Johnny has to TP
QO
away,
is
but
getting
down.
melted right now.
Yep, Phoenix chasing them down. QO is actually going to come back in off of that. Arrow ends up losing the Venge. Lance eating so much damage from the Death Prophet. Just look at her melt. She has to leap and make a run for the well. And at bottom, there was an engagement going on as well. Doesn't look like anything much came of it, though. There was a Ravage deployed, however. And that in and of itself is worth mentioning. And oh, here comes the Tinker.
Ryzen, get out of there.
Oh, he came in and used the trees, and he ends up blowing it up. There's a gem on the ground. Here comes MVP again. QO engaging on the DDZ, got the Hex off. And now, no, there's a Hex on the QO himself. BKB buying him some time. Will it be enough? QO trying. Yes, got the bash.
Bashes all over the place.
Yep, and he actually has to suicide again. He's down for 80 seconds regardless of the suicide. And that Bloodstone, he's used it, but he certainly hasn't used it the way he would have liked. That's like, what, the 4th or 5th time he's had to suicide himself?
I believe so, yeah. And MVP right away starts pinging the
Buyback.
Russian. Yeah, there's the buyback. He needs to buy, and yeah, MVP just runs back.
What an insane game this has been. And we have 6 heroes on the board right now, all over 20k net worth. 6 of them. That's 120k plus. Actually, quite a bit more. Some of them are 25, 27, 28. That is so much gold that has been absorbed on this map across the last 54 minutes, and it's very evenly distributed for the most part. Only the supports are kind of hungry at the moment. And the 2 hungriest, the Tree and the Witch Doctor with the Venge there as well.
MVP going to engage on this? They are.
Oh, they are. Roche, very low. Can they get it? Who's going to get it? That's going to be Mirana. Actually got the Aegis off of that. There's a great overgrowth that has 3 locked down in one place, and QO's doing work. Lance going to be tossed in the air with the Yule Scepter. Here comes the Nature's Prophet, though, and Tinker's there as well. QO, he does manage to make it away. Kept alive. Lance still alive. Didn't drop the Aegis yet, but now QO hits the crush, but ends up dying behind the fight. He buys back as well. Chen was the other one to die in that engagement. Heen trying to make it away and does use his Blink Dagger to jump the chasm. So we have a buyback on Slaughter following the buyback on Tinker, and things are getting kind of crazy. Both of those heroes spent theirs. Almost everyone else, save for the Venge and the Witch Doctor, has their buyback still available.
trying to look where that cheese went. I don't really.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
I don't know who picked it up. I think it got picked up and used instantly.
Yep.
I think the Mirana might have used it right away and then picked up the Aegis. But that was a beautiful swap.
Johnny's got 2.
Oh, Johnny's got 2. Okay.
He's got 2 cheeses.
That was my mistake then. But yeah, the Venge, that was a beautiful swap by him because Slardo was running and he might have gotten one of them. He swapped him all the way back.
Coming back in, he's going to engage onto the Prophet. We actually see another blow up on the Witch Doctor, but now here comes Death Prophet. DDZ trying to bring QO down and does. Now he died back. He's down for 2 straight minutes. Can DDZ make it away? He got silenced, but he's able to blink. TPing away and home. He's safe. Now that Slaughter is down for a long time. The Nature's Prophet bought back as well. So you're talking 5 on 3 at the moment, and they have to get work done while the Slaughter is not available. Looks like they want to meet up in mid for the most part and split push bottom at the same time.
Yeah, Arrow needs to capitalize on this right away. They know this Slaughter just bought out. They should be just pressuring all the lanes, and it looks like that's exactly what they're doing.
MVP can do nothing but set their heels and hope. BKB done on Tidehunter. What a freaking beastly Tidehunter.
He's so
Are
farmed.
you kidding me?
Unbelievable. He has 300 creep score on a Tidehunter. You don't see that every day. Not at all.
Acre Smash is all right.
Really is.
Arrow, gonna make a run at it. We can see the Prophet pecking away. You are not going to zone for Ev out at this point. He is way too fat. They use their glyph.
This should be 2 Raxes for Arrow.
It's still a minute down for Slaughter. They need a miracle. They end up using the Hex, but at top, we can see the Prophet. They don't have the damage to deal with him, and here comes DDZ. There's going to be a Hex onto the Tidehunter, but he comes back in, trying to engage onto the Death Prophet. She's still so tanky, though. Johnny, eating a bit of damage. There's going to be the Death Ward, so he should end up dying to this. Behind that, though, we see the Rax melting down in mid. And now a big combination that brings down the Witch Doctor. Rax down in mid, and MVP, who held on for so long. Looks like they're finally cracking under the pressure. Still 30 seconds until Slaughter is there, and they manage to get another set of racks. Ravage deployed, but is it too little, too late? Marana's going to be back up. They did manage to get a set of racks there as well. They're going to come back in and look to blow up Heen, and they succeed. BKB on that, Marana keeping her alive. DDZ not too shabby, and the health department himself. Lance, in the meantime, just focus firing down those racks. Should be able to bring them down by the time all is said and done, and they're just completely sold out on DDZ at the moment as he's going to lose them in the trees. One would think he actually got caught by a silence. They're continuing to pursue him, but in the meantime, top 2 racks both ended up dropping. They had 1 racks left. DDZ, maybe. Oh, wow.
Oh, buyback
from Chen, and he uses the hand of God.
Oh,
DDZ is right there with him, has Lance to help him, and they're going to come up and finally just about catch him, but Lance is there. I didn't even see where the Tinker went to.
Trouble.
But yeah, I think the damage is done. Oh, wow! Manages to leap across the gap just past the Radiant Side Secret Shop. I actually didn't even see where the Tinker got away to amidst all that chaos, but looks like he's down at bottom, continuing to be the nuisance he is. But good plays, good pursuit, and fun to watch. However, I think the damage has been done. 2 racks is pretty tough to recover from against a Prophet and a Tinker.
Absolutely. And they have, if you just look, everyone has so much gold on them.
Oh, God.
March has 7,000 gold. The Witch Doctors, the supports on MVP are pretty poor. Slardar finished up his MKB. Tidehunter, we were saying before, he's got his BKB, he's got his Shiva, he's got Pipe. He even got rid of the mech at this point to just grab this gem. But all over the place, everyone has so many items. Marana is completely max slotted now at this point, too. He only has 1 kill, too.
Yeah.
If you really look at it.
1, 4, and 9.
There, he didn't hit, I don't even think he hit anybody. I think he shot an arrow and a starfall, but he was just focusing those buildings, which is what he needs to do right now.
That was his job.
And yeah, they just need to get 1 more of those racks down, and it's going to be super difficult
Johnny.
for MVP. And Johnny, trying to get some creeps out, and I think MVP kind of just read that. They were like, Chen just respawned, he needs creeps. So they just run into their jungle. And that's
in the meantime, they'll look at bottom.
Yeah.
And this is going to be desperation time out of them. I don't know that there's a whole lot they can do. They will end up catching Muzone, though, so they're going to have 2 down. Refresher finally done on the Death Prophet. However, that Tier 3 bottom is going to be brought down in the meantime. BKB deployed by the Nature's Prophet. And, yep, there's the Overgrowth. So he's going to sprout himself in. In the meantime, good damage being done. Jeez, look at the crit. Ryson tracked down from behind. Lance getting himself another kill. Only a second of the game, as we pointed out. And the Witch Doctor has really been having a rough time for a while. DDZ, by the way, now a Tim Bloodstone charges, so he's gotten back into gear after they settled down. And I kind of am forced to agree with Fear. It feels like they were kind of going clown shoes for a while, but now they're like, all right, this is a little too close for comfort. Let's actually play competently.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I really thought that MVP would have been able to take it if they just kept getting the pickoffs. But, you know what, Arrow just decided, you know what, we're going to start taking this very much more seriously and just playing the way that we should be playing, the way our heroes are meant to play. Split you up, get a pickoff, go for those racks ace up, and once that Slardar bought back and they killed him again, that's their window, and they just went for it instantly.
All right, looks like Lance is down there by his lonesome. Has his Lincolns popped. And just look how tanky this Tide is. He doesn't care. He's going to rush in and try to engage. BKB's there, and there's going to be the first exorcism. Refresher is done, but now MVP down to their last breath. They're going to end up getting at least one, but Tinker continues to do work as he is on another killing streak, and Lance's BKB does wear off. Refresh has been used. He has another exorcism available if and when he needs it. For now, this is all just a delay tactic, just hoping and praying that they're going to buy time for the heroes to get back up. Here comes DDZ, though, and it's going to be spotted by Forev. That's actually Johnny, never mind.
Johnny bought Boots of Travel, just poured it in and pops his necro book. He's like, I got to commit something to you guys. I got to do something.
I'm here, guys. I'm helping.
I'm not just dying.
Oh, DDZ.
Oh, wow. And Ryzen's just getting blown up by that combo. And yeah, he did end up swapping in the Hex for instead of the BKB there. And yeah, this looks like it's going to be Mega Creeps, and this looks like it might just be the end for MVP.
Last exorcism, doesn't matter. Megas are out. Tide's bought his Refresher. Time for that death push, that one last chance. Maybe get a pick, push down mid, and genuinely hope for the best. There's a swap that's going to keep Lance alive. He's going to turn back around, but so tanky between these two heroes. Hell, not between these two heroes. How about that whole team? Bots being picked up everywhere, by the way, as everyone knows the situation. You're not...
2 bots, Marana.
There's your
not
cheese hanging out in the base, by the way.
He bought 2 there. Oh, he sold it. Okay, there we go. I was going to be, whoa there.
Yeah, 1 for each foot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's got multiple.
Twice as fast.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, now at this point, versus Mega Creeps, it's really demoralizing. They do have the heroes, though, to defend against them, but that's the unfortunate thing about Mega Creeps. Even if you defend against them, it's just not enough because they can just sit back, farm, and then walk in with 5 heroes, and you just really can't do anything. And yeah, like you said before, actually, Death Prophet did end up going for that Refreshers very, very late in the game, which I think is probably the best pickup.
Yeah, she had to have it.
Yeah, I just don't see any other item unless he just goes for DPS, which is pretty worthless.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, man, win, lose, or draw, granted the game's not over, looking very, very close to being so, but MVP still gasping for air.
They fought.
They
fought a good fight.
Hard.
They really did.
And they showed how good they can be. They really, really did. And the experience, by the way, still is actually in favor of MVP. We can see, look at the hole they dug themselves out of. It took them forever. The gold, not quite as romantic a tale, if we're honest. They did cut it down at one point to about 12K from around 20, so that in and of itself could be a moral victory, but
yeah, for sure.
In the end, it does look like they will be heading to the lower bracket.
I was kind of really hoping that MVP would take this, at least this game, so we'd see a game 3 to see what the potential, because they, even though they were in such a horrible scenario, and Arrow was, playing a little bit goofy, they were taking advantage of it, and they were playing decent Dota. They were finding the pickoffs they needed and doing what they could do possible. Anything that they could possibly do to just try to come back in the game, and they really showed what they could do. Look, it's a 62-minute game, and that was a level 1 Roshan for Arrow, so very well played by MVP, and I'm actually surprised. I did not expect them to do this good versus this team.
I'll be honest, I think this is actually, obviously a win's better, but all things considered, the fact that they came in such underdogs, they got crushed in game 1, and then they come into game 2, and they're going with a very kind of, I won't say sketchy, but a draft that had its glaring weaknesses, even though it could have been great, and then they end up falling behind. Oh, hello, Abyssal on Death Prophet.
What do you get? He got rid of his Yules. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
why not?
I guess, right?
BKBs are the issue.
What's the range on Abyssal? It's like 200, I think. It's
yep.
really, really short range, so he has to run right next to somebody. But you know what? Why not?
Teeing off on the Muzone, and Shin unable to get the sim back. There's going to be an overgrowth that catches too. That's Lance and Johnny Bo. Jim on the ground, but DDZ's there. There's going to be a Ravage to follow it. BKB was already used by Lance, though. And now here comes the Tide back in. DDZ doing good damage from top. Will blink down. Here comes Death Prophet. Refresh, and there's going to be another Ravage that catches them both. Do they have the vision? They do. There's a gush on the DDZ, and he's going to get Abyssal. Can they focus him down? No, not quite. Still alive for the moment because he's ethereal. The physical damage from Death Ward, not enough. Same with Exorcism. Physical damage from the Ghost, however, no! Barely able to make it away. Behind him, the fight continues to rage, but he's going to make it back alive. And now Lance punishing Forev, who chased so deep. QO is going to come in, hit the smash. Marana in trouble. There's going to be a Hex from DDZ, who never went back to heal up. He's hanging around with next to no health. That's a 1,300 gold kill.
The base, though, the Mega Creeps are taking out the throne. There's nothing they can do. Furan he was just pushing this whole time. He got picked up by the Slardar buyout, but in the end, Mega Creeps are just too much, and GG comes out by MVP. Very well played by them. They did everything they could. Very good game by them. Arrow played a little bit goofy, but you know what? MVP gave it their all. They really did.
Absolutely. And what a game, man. And what I was actually going to say before that last fight broke out is in a lot of ways, obviously a win's better, but if you're going to lose, I think this actually helps them a lot because they went against the team that crushed everyone, coming through just about everyone anyway. And now they come in and go, you know what? We are that good. This is a game we could have won. Maybe if we just check Roshan, who knows how this plays out? Who knows how everything goes? And